for you guys to show up over Slide. We're gonna wait for you guys to show up over here. Filter on in. We get a few people over. We'll start. I'm sure Roger's gonna end in a minute or two. I got one waiting. Okay, James. Okay, and we go ahead and paste the link. We go ahead and paste the link real quick so you guys can filter on in. And if you're over here today, Roger's going to be doing this. I'm gonna do this for about an hour or two, and then Roger will probably continue this tomorrow. I just want everybody to actually finish their thoughts. So the link is in the chat if you guys want to come on up. Hey, what's going on? Brian Will, what's up? This is a carryover from Roger's channel. I'm listening. What's up, Toya? What up? Yango, Sam C. Okay, Bitter Truth. James, Shadow, Smooth, what's up? Brian Will, what's up? King, Paul, Mad, Coakley. Go ahead, James. You can go ahead and start if you want to.
Um, just piggyback from our last the last live. I just find it I just find it baffling when I see or hear brothers have an issue with classism. Um, and it's just one of these perpetuating things that just keeps coming up for I don't even know why they can't accept that there are individuals in society that have better proficiencies, better structures, better access to information to make society more productive.
Actually even Monahan talked about class compression, right? Because
Mhm.
racism, the one drop rule, um, keeping black people in a certain bubble where they couldn't spread out into normal classes and stuff like that. Because in white classes, they don't, they're not in the same areas. Okay, very
Yeah.
seldom
You
are they in
mean
the same areas.
redlining?
Redlining is a whole different story, right? This is before
Yes.
redlining. What I'm talking about, in the '60s, black people had to stay in certain areas, okay, because of
Well,
the
yeah,
yeah
segregation as well.
segregation kept people together, no matter what class you're in. So that's class compression. So as a culture, we never developed a natural class structure as other people have. So that's the reason. That's one reason.
I
Yeah.
would say, I would say after slavery and before the civil rights era, I think we did have a class system, but with integration and black people's desperate ability or desperate desire to have white folks love them, they moved out into white areas in order to try to belong and get that pat on the head like a dog because of Stockholm syndrome. So
No,
that
no, not really.
destroyed. I
Not
mean,
really.
I'm just saying for
To you.
me.
For
So
you,
it
yeah, but
feels like that it destroyed whatever type of black neighborhood classism that we have.
no, you still have it. It's culturally, you
Like
still have it.
yeah, you're right. Because matter of fact, prime example. Okay, like people are talking about um, black folks with money moving back into the black neighborhoods and buying houses and creating black businesses and everything. And I'm like, you do understand that once you do that, when you buy a house in a poor black neighborhood, you're going to refurbish it. You're going to bring it up to modern day standards. You're not just
Uh
going to
huh.
live in squalor.
Uh huh.
So therefore, you're going to drive up the property taxes. Just like when you open up a business, let's say like you live down the street from
Uh
your
huh.
business, you're going to drive up the property taxes, and the people who can't afford those property taxes, or the that own their houses, or the people who have been own the houses but have been renting it, they're going to increase the rent. So those poor black people in that black neighborhood that you called yourself helping, you're regentrifying your own kind.
Okay. But who's asking for these rich people to come back to the neighborhood?
Dumb people.
No, the poor people actually asking them to do that.
What did I just say?
Yeah.
What
Because
what
they
I'm
don't
saying,
think it through.
what I'm saying is, you've been around white people, right? There's a clear class structure, right? They don't
Oh
live
yeah.
in the same. They don't live in the same neighborhoods. Okay, they
Yep.
don't. Okay, black people are forced to live in the same neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Forced. The natural
And I,
progression for amongst any other group is to move into a neighborhood indicative of your class, right? Black people couldn't do that. So culturally, we haven't developed a class structure the
yeah.
same way everybody else has. So
And
that's called class compression.
BGS, I think on top of that, I think we developed as a byproduct of that like a aversion to hierarchy
Yes.
because we weren't exposed to class. Like on Roger's show, somebody said class is just like essentially just to divide people and divide and conquer or something
Yeah,
weird.
that's what James says. Yeah.
Right. But I think it's literally, I think culturally, and I think a lot of this has to do with us being kind of gynocracy or matriarchy. That I
Hmm.
think black women, uh, they developed their anti-hierarchy, anti-category, because with that you can't have standard, you can't be judged. If you don't have a hierarchy, if class doesn't matter or class is evil, there's no judgment, there's no category, there's not even anything to strive
Even
for.
though women understand class better than men do.
Right. But I think they push a culture within, our in group or our out group or our in group rather,
Hmm.
to that doesn't and I guess men would kind of reinforce that typically, like we see in other cultures. Men, they're not, their culture isn't completely handed down to them by the women. So
Let me ask you this,
go ahead.
right? For a rich white guy, is he going to go to the same barbershop as the trailer park guy?
No, not at
Why
all.
not?
No.
Why not?
Because it's a class distinction. Or yeah,
Do you would a rich guy, black guy, go to the same barbershop as
yes
a
he would.
why?
Because there isn't a class
And
distinction.
so if uh, uh, would a rich white guy go to the same club as a motorcycle dive bar?
No.
Why?
Because there's a class distinction. There's an environment that he's not
Do you
suited
see
for.
celebrities and rich people going to hip hop clubs where poor people are, in
No,
black community? Yes,
no.
you do. You do
Say
all the time.
Yeah,
BGS.
I'm
say
I'll
sorry.
give
yeah,
Yeah,
you an
say
yeah.
yeah.
example
I'm
real
sorry. I'm
quick.
sorry.
One
Yeah.
time,
Dude,
Hold on.
Jesus fucking
I'll just
Christ.
say, let's
go
say,
ahead.
give you an example real quick, right? So, are you familiar with Cedric Richmond out of New Orleans?
I think I heard of him. Yeah.
So, yeah, he was a representative. He gave up that position to get on Joe Biden's staff. Now, I can't remember what position he's in, but he's in he's at the White House now, right? So,
Hmm.
I remember every Essence Fest weekend, he throws a welcome to New Orleans party at the biggest club in New Orleans, holds about 3,000 people. And
Hmm.
so I just remember at one of his events that he was hosting for that, the VIP areas. They had
Hmm.
one VIP area with me and my guys. They had another VIP area with Cedric Richmond and his people. Then they
Hmm.
had another VIP area that was full of drug dealers.
Hmm. Yeah.
All in the same
So
club.
I
All
wanna
in the
ask
same club.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's the
wanna
black
ask
community.
something if I can.
Go ahead. Go.
But they were not in the same section.
That's true. That's not in the same section. Go ahead. We ain't signed. Well, the thing is, the thing is, they're all in the same club at the same time. That wouldn't happen in the white community.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the one thing I would say is why you have the mingling of classes here, and especially in the black community, because it's lonely. So for example, right, I don't like this is the only exposure I have to the black community. Like now where I'm at, right, in Shanghai, right?
Yeah.
So it's lonely here, especially if you come from the hood, right? Especially if you come from humble beginnings in general, right? So you try to come back because you grew up on this, right? This is like
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Captain
It's
Crunch
culture.
weekends, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's culture. So it's not only that it's not only that there's a separation, but also it's lonely because it gets tiring because you're always on, right? When you're talking to different races, different people, you're always on. You're always trying to, it's hard to constantly talk to them about things and seeing things from their perspective. Sometimes it's nice and good just to be around people, just to, people
Exactly.
that come from where you come from. seeing the things that you see. And
Which
so
is
that's why a
yeah.
lot of times, you know, and I mean, and like even here, like, you know, I have a lot of African friends, but it's different, right? It's
Yeah.
different.
That's the
And I would
downside
say
to not
this,
Oh,
having
one at a time,
a class system.
one time, and finish your thought, and then get other people in. Go ahead, finish your
Because
thought.
it's just not like for example, where I'm at, right, in Shanghai, there was 5 of us, right? Five of us. 4 of them got locked out of the like when the pandemic hit, people left, and now China doesn't let people back in. So now I'm the only one left out of 5. Right, that was like that. We come from the same background, same education level. We're all part of the league, and we all have our own business, stuff like that. There was 5. Now I'm the only one left.
Okay.
can I go
Compassion.
after you,
Was
Simon?
it
You're the
James?
only one left
Oh, well,
alive. I don't understand what you mean
I'm
by
the
the
only
only
one
one
left.
left.
I'm the only one left in Shanghai.
in Shanghai. That's what he's trying.
Oh,
He's
so
in
you're
China.
stuck in Shanghai. You're not allowed out.
No, he works there.
I have a I
I don't
work and live.
understand what you mean.
And
I've been living
unless he wants to travel like 8,000 miles to see black people.
right. I've been living and working in.
Oh, so
in
you're the
Shanghai.
only black guy from your company
No,
that's okay. I get
no,
it
no,
now.
no, no. My point is, I'm the only. There used to be 5 other Black Americans who also started their business, came over in corporate America, Ivy League background, right? There used to be 5 of us, right? Dartmouth, Yale, mostly Dartmouth and Yale, and then I'm from Penn and Harvard, right?
And you're
So
the
there was
last
5,
one left.
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm the last
Okay.
one, and I've
Yeah.
been over
Yeah.
here for the past
Okay.
16 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, BGS, it was some. I was
I
trying to
know.
give you an example
Real
here.
quick. Real quick. But we
I
got.
will.
Okay. Real
In
quick. We got 10 people on here. Go ahead.
all right, in Ohio, in Columbus, before I left,
Mm-hmm.
when they were taking over, because you could clearly see they were regentrifying the poor black part of town of Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
They built apartment complexes way out in Reynoldsburg, which is like the upper middle class area of Columbus, Ohio. They
Mm-hmm.
built these people like 2 full stack apartment complexes, almost
Okay.
like a modern day version of Good Times. Food desert. They were moving those people there. They were moving them out of the poor black area because they
Okay.
couldn't afford to live there anymore. They were literally giving these people housing vouchers to get in.
Okay. Okay.
Gentrification. They did that in Chicago.
I mean, they got
Right.
okay. Well, if you're going to take their area, they're going to have some place to move. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They gave it to them. So classism, I mean,
and what's
that's a
so
worldwide phenomenon.
and
Yeah,
what's
we were trying to say that. Okay,
All throughout history.
if
what's
somebody
so
that hasn't
clear.
gotten in, get in. Go ahead,
Okay.
Compassion, real quick. Want
go
somebody
ahead.
that hasn't spoken.
What's clearly a lot of the downside of not having a class distinction is what a lot of you guys are alluding to, is that it leaves you in the lurch, kind of. You don't have as much dexterity as far as social group and socializing. So it's like it makes a lot of sense of why a lot of shit hasn't happened for the community, because we're not functioning with class distinctions or hierarchies. We're essentially behaving as if there is no hierarchy between humans or social groups, which is just weird and interesting.
No, wait, that's unique to Black America. It has nothing to do with poor. That's called racism and segregation that caused that. That caused the compression. Who else hadn't got in that wants to get in? Going once, going twice. Because I let Billy
Let's
Jimmy,
see,
I'll
talk.
just
let me
say,
go.
as I
Go ahead.
as I said on Roger's channel earlier, it's predictability and network,
Yeah, which I love that.
because that's what class is really about. What are you going to do? And your predictability is going to be a function of your life experiences, your parents' life experiences, your grandparents' life experiences. I can more readily predict when we ain't signing was talking about pedigree. Pedigree is about, can I predict what you're going to do based on what you have done, what your life experience has been, what your parents' life experience has been, what your grandparents' life experiences. And also, your pedigree also means, and connected to that is, who do you know? Who do the people you know? And who do the people you know? And can
Right.
I call on and can I rely upon those relationships? That's pedigree.
Hey,
It's not
Ugo.
about necessarily physical traits, although that could be a function of it. Obviously, rich
Yeah.
people tend to marry pretty people, or pretty people tend to marry rich people. So
Now
over
that falls under
time, you
predictability,
probably
though.
will have a certain.
I'm going to request that people shorten their answers a little bit. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, over time, you may have a certain physical appearance of people of a certain pedigree because of the basis of the money and the ability of that money to attract people who look a certain way, for example. But pedigree is mostly about network and about predictability of what you're going to do based on your family history.
Hey, BGS, why do you think we haven't evolved or developed a sense of pedigree? And
Can I explain it one more time? Okay.
Yeah.
What happened with the one drop rule and the bourgeoisie, the black bourgeoisie?
Mm.
They got pushed down into the classes with everybody else, right? Everybody's a Negro. They gave you the Negro became a class in itself. And it's called segregation. They wouldn't let you move next to the white folks. They wouldn't let you move out of a certain town, right? So they wouldn't let you develop a class because you're always what? A Negro, okay?
Mm.
So you didn't develop it. That's on purpose. So the thing is, you never developed a natural class system just like everybody else. In Africa, there's a class system, right? You go to Africa, there's peasants, there's people out in the bush, there's peasants, there's workers, there's white collar workers, and there's upper class. Okay,
yeah,
there's
a
natural
hierarchy.
class system.
Yeah.
There's a hierarchy, right? Every place else you go, there's a hierarchy, right?
There's one more issue,
Go ahead.
BGS.
What's that?
Black people, because of our particular history, have more of an antagonistic view of class than because other people, white people, and even non-ADOS people, they respect and regard position and class and aristocratic order much more so than we do.
Yes.
Yeah, because the hierarchy.
You mean of a higher order? Yes.
Hierarchies stabilize social groups. Without a hierarchy, you have no orientation.
Okay, so, let me ask you. Okay, who's the most? Okay, you take a small tribe in the middle of nowhere, right? Who's the highest person in that group?
The chief.
The chief, right? Who's beneath him?
Who's beneath him? His
The
subordinate.
religious leader.
The tribal council, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then there's everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So natural
The subjects.
hierarchy. There's a natural hierarchy.
And
well, so
that,
then we get into the
chaos.
conversation.
Hold on. Just
okay.
All right. If I'm trying to get capacity to finish up so we can actually get somebody else in.
Yeah, my bad. I'll shut up.
It's natural hierarchy. We've explained it many times why there isn't one. Okay.
Yeah.
It's artificial. Okay. It's called racism, sir. Okay. That's why you don't have one. Who's Uru's already spoken? Who hasn't spoken? Who wants to get in?
Z.
Go ahead.
So I think then you get the antagonism, but I'm going to look at it from a different angle. Then you get some of the anger within the group, because from what I'm seeing now, especially for certain millennials that kind of have a few dollars, now it's about ingratiating yourself into the dominant society because you're attempting to imitate that class structure. But because for the most part you can't. Your anger doesn't turn to them. Your anger comes back to the black community, like the hood niggas. The reason why you can't be essentially a white person chocolate dipped.
Yep.
That's what ends up happening. A lot of brothers and sisters that got a few dollars, they mad at other black people because they think the reason they can't be white is because of other black people.
Yep.
Well, and that Mr. Z was kind of one of my complex view about Kevin Samuel's issue regarding the image of black men, because I just always saw that as kind of a slippery slope or a fool's gold. In a history of a country where black men were being hung in suits, I'm suspicious of the notion, or military uniforms with their medals on.
Yep.
I'm suspicious of this I remain suspicious of this notion that you can image your way into the good graces of white people. But
I said this one time.
Hold on, compassion. We got to let other people get in. Mr. Z finished up, and who's next?
I want to try to get in for a minute.
Yeah, okay. Right after
I'm gonna
Mrs.
shut up in
Finish
1
up,
minute.
Mr. Z.
Okay, I said this
1
one
minute.
time on the breakdown,
1
and it
minute.
was okay. Okay, the question I asked, and I ask it everywhere I go now, is the goal, and not just for Black people, because BGS is in Cali, he'll tell you, is the goal for people of color essentially to be white and to like have the type of power of a white man and to abuse that power like they do? Are you really looking for justice and freedom and all that other good homely stuff, or are you just essentially looking to be a white man? And that goes for women and men of color in the West. That's what it comes down to me. Because when I
Who has
listen to our arguments, it's everybody comparing themselves to the white dude.
who
I'll
has the
pause right there.
I
power?
would more so say
That's
black women are trying to be
Hold on.
white
It's Chief's
women
turn. It's Chief's turn.
more
It's
than
Yeah,
Chief's turn.
anything.
yeah. Okay, go ahead, Sheet. Jump in.
Well,
And then I
my
would like to
thing,
go.
Go ahead,
my
Sheet.
thing is this: with a lot of people, I mean, the whole deal with class. You got a lot of people who are just not getting money or getting into the money. They still want to remain their ties to the hood and all that.
Mhm.
And I seen this good video real quick. Guy was talking about. He said, "Man, I'm 18 years old in high school, drive a $300,000 car. I stay in a 10-bedroom house, a
Mhm.
mansion, pretty much." He
Mhm.
said, "Why should I have to insert myself into the Black culture?" He said,
Okay.
"I'm fine with, being pushed away from the culture because, I don't want to be labeled as stereotype." And a lot of people don't get it. The point of class, it has structure and it has levels. When you
Mhm.
moving high up in the company, that's when you start coming from the mail room or janitor maybe even and start coming up to the, manager level, the CEO position, all that.
Mhm.
People don't want to put in the work. And the problem is they want everybody to be bland, just one simple, we all one monolith. That's never going to be the case. Class is structured for a reason like that. And, with John, what he was trying to, mix in that thing with the Bible, I'm like, man, cut the crap. If he read the Bible, he already know the structure in which things are. Every
Yeah,
place has an order, and people
yeah,
don't want to follow that order because they don't want to adhere to the rules. And so
yeah.
if
The
you don't
Bible.
adhere to the rules, you stay at the bottom. People at the top, they have structure, they have rules and everything in place so that everybody can succeed to a certain extent within the boundaries of those laws and rules.
BJ.
Order.
You
Who's
know
next?
what?
Yeah.
There's
Who's
two
next? Oh,
things.
hold on.
So hold on.
I'm sorry.
Who's next? Who's next?
No,
I'm next. I'm next.
I'll go after
So
whoever's next if that's possible.
so when you asked about power and do we want to be like white men, et cetera, we don't want to be like white men, but we absolutely want power. Why wouldn't you want power? And why not abuse it like they do, right? I mean, every group is fighting for resources and power because if you're not going to dominate, someone's going to dominate you. So absolutely you should get power. Absolutely you should get money. Absolutely you should get privilege. It's great. And I'll close
Okay.
with that.
Well, let me ask.
Whoa. Bitter Truth, you want a response? Go ahead, Bitter Truth, and then Uru. And then
Two
somebody
things
else
I
that hasn't
want to
spoken.
say.
It was me.
Number one, there's a
I'll go after
reason
James.
why people from old money they don't like people who have just
Nouveau
become
riche.
rich, as they call it, new money,
Nouveau
because
Rich,
they
yeah.
don't know how to act, they don't know how to behave, they haven't
Facts.
been refined into
A class.
the money class, right? That money culture. And
Mhm.
two, if you really look at it, can you define Black culture? What is Black culture as it stands today?
And it's pretty, but you know what it is. Like I said, you know what it is when
Yeah,
you see it.
you know what it is. The question is, how productive
Classified as
is
the
it?
hood.
Yeah.
It's not
You know,
productive at all outside of
I
music
just
and
hear somebody.
basketball.
Well, that's what we see. But yeah,
Well, music
uh,
and sports, yeah,
yeah,
entertainment.
that's
I'll
what
go
we
after
see.
you, James.
Right.
And who?
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are Black scientists and, people who have been involved in STEM, but they get no praise. I mean, it's a goddamn shame that we make memes talking about some brother gets a party when he gets out of jail than a brother who graduates from
I don't know why
college.
we still saying that. I don't
But
see
but
that
but
shit.
but those are lower class people.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
but we still don't throw a party for a brother that graduates from
Nah, I don't
college.
know what you're talking about because I've seen them.
That is a
Yeah, they
lower
do.
class
okay,
people. Upper
okay,
class people do differently. And then Uru, go ahead, Uru.
that's true.
And then
That's
who hasn't?
true.
Hold a second,
That's
Uru.
It's
Who,
James
true.
next.
who hasn't spoken? Who
I
hasn't?
haven't. I
I
Who
haven't.
haven't
hasn't?
either.
I'll go
Okay.
after James. or
and
who after
Sam
him?
after
That,
whoever that
Oh,
is.
no. Capacity, you spoke quite a bit.
All right.
So
Right.
Sam
well, I
C
mean,
and
you
Sam,
can
Sam
draw the classic
Hold on a second. Sam C and then who hasn't
Me,
spoken?
James.
Then
James.
James. I think you have spoken, but go ahead. I think you came on
No,
speaking, James.
go ahead, Sam C.
No,
Go ahead, Sam.
no. No, finish your thought, Uru. Go ahead and then Sam C.
Well, I mean, only a Snoop Dogg is like a cultural icon now.
Now he
That
is.
only happens with ADOS people. That don't happen with any other demographic of people in this country.
I don't know. Look at
So
look at Guns N' Roses. Look at
Elvis.
what was it? Kiss.
I don't see
I
the
mean,
Guns
Snoop
and
was
I
with
don't see the
old
Guns and
girl.
Roses. I don't see the Guns N' Roses doing daytime TV with
Martha Stewart.
Right, I'm about to
Martha
say,
No,
yeah,
Stewart's an
Snoop was with
icon.
Martha
Look at her
Stewart.
dealing
So
with Snoop. She's an icon.
Snoop is he transcended culture. He wound up
I'm
transcending
saying
culture.
only
What was
black people.
who's the wife of that rocker that's kind of crazy? What's her name?
Who, Pamela
White
Oh,
Anderson?
you
Osborne.
talking about
Sharon
Ozzy Osbourne's
Stone.
wife?
Ozzy.
Sharon Stone.
Ozzy
Sharon
Osbourne.
Osbourne.
Oh, Ozzy
Ozzy
Osbourne.
Sharon
Karen
Osbourne.
Osbourne.
The fact that you
Sharon
guys are
Osbourne.
struggling, the fact that you guys are struggling to recall who this person is,
No, that's not
make
true.
my point.
It's not true.
Snoop Dogg is a unique phenomenon, and he's a unique phenomenon that is unique to being ADOS and male in this country.
Marilyn Monroe was
The
Marilyn
lawn
Monroe was
jockey.
a stripper.
He's the lawn
Exactly.
jockey. He's the lawn jockey. He's the
Thank you.
there's something unique about how black people, Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima and all, there's something unique about being a black, particularly ADOS or foundational person in this country, where their image and their likeness can be manipulated and an assortment of ways
right,
that's
turn it up,
unique
Uru.
to us.
Who was this speaking?
That's Black Guru.
Black Guru. Remember, I will never forget. I saw his game show.
Real quick.
I had to cut it off. It was so Sambo-ish, I couldn't believe it.
Okay, all right. Sam C, go ahead. I need you guys to short this up because I'm trying to get people in. Sam C, go ahead.
All right, thank you. My couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is, do you think that the black elite have enough power to counter some of the effects of what we're talking about in culture, like your Snoop Dogs and the masses, like it has done with the white people? Hey, you know, hey, to get money, it's okay to protect your family's name, and it's okay to have that thought process to where it's not just pants sagging in hip hop.
If BET would have stayed on the right course, yes.
I want to say something real quick, but you know who's actually funding all this? Snoop Dogg, NWA, and all them folks who's funding all this?
Say it, BGS.
No, white people.
Thank you.
White 80.
What's the difference?
There's a big difference.
So then the answer to your question is fuck no.
That's what I said in the beginning. Thank you.
In other words, Snoop Dogg is not just a black icon; is also a white icon too. That's why he's there. Because
but the point I'm making.
Uru, hold on a second. Can I finish my thought? Can I finish my thought? The reason hip hop got so big, especially gangster rap, is because the majority of white people bought this shit. Right? I was listening to white guys with what's it called it with jackets, what they call them, Letterman jackets, out in the middle of Orange County, right, an exclusive neighborhood, bumping his music. Okay, they're buying it because white people buy it. He's not just
okay. But can I ask you a question, BJS? Let me ask you a question. Why didn't, for example, heavy metal or satanic rock?
It did.
Or none of that has achieved the cultural effect of hip hop, and in particular gangster rap.
Actually, yes, it has. It's just that we as black folks are the only ones that mainly don't listen to that crap.
It's not true. You can see it on the record sales.
Hey, one at a time.
You
Okay.
don't see those guys on daytime TV selling
Mm-hmm.
projects, selling game
Mm-hmm.
shows, and all that bullshit. Let's cut the bullshit now.
Yeah,
Now, I'm not
Because they
saying,
don't
I'm
have
not,
to.
look,
Okay.
I'm not
it's not
saying
true.
that those guys are not very popular, Motley Crue and all them motherfuckers. I'm not saying that they didn't do well, Nirvana and all that shit. But what I'm saying is, in 1992, for example, the Chronic was outselling the fucking Nirvana,
Okay.
and shit changed back then,
Okay.
where all of a sudden the cultural zeitgeist
Who
was
was
not
buying
grunt,
it?
it was not grunge rock.
Who was
Right, it
buying
was
it?
white people, but you
Thank
could
you.
not have made.
Yep.
My point is, you could not have created that particular fury about some white guys deciding they were going to be fucking gangster hip rock
What
singers or whatever.
what was the white guy? What's his name? The,
You
um,
had Bubba Sparks.
Bubba Spark. Who was no?
You
But
had
actually,
Kid Rock.
Yeah,
no,
and they
no.
came
You
and
had
Oh,
they
you mean
and they
Eminem?
came in with it.
Eminem?
They came in
Right.
with
Eminem.
it.
The only one
The
that stayed
only
was
Eminem.
one,
Eminem
the
because
Eminem.
he's the
only
only one that
white
had
guy
real
who
talent.
got to that level was Eminem. That's
And
the
that was
only
because of
one.
Dre.
That's
So
the
we could
only
say
one.
hip hop is
And
But
more
you're
of an
right. And that's
American
white
because
One
he
at a
people.
was
time. One at a time. One at
validated.
a time.
That's because he was validated by Dr. Dre.
Well,
Can
I
I
But
would.
do
offer a counter?
understand,
So
Eminem has
this is the
talent.
important. I just want to drop some numbers real quick. Hip hop surpassed rock music in 2016 or 2017, and it was official, right? In streams, in sales, and all of it.
Okay.
Also, I remember watching an interview with Jadakiss, for those Jadakiss from the Locks, and he said after 700,000 units, it pretty much becomes white people buying your albums and stuff like that. So that goes to what
Yeah.
BGS is saying. So it is white people. So
And
what Black Uru is saying
and
is very true.
internationally too. So
It was exact. So what Black Uru is saying is true. This is a very unique phenomenon. You can tell that doesn't mean these white people ain't selling, right? The One Directions and whatever the hell they are selling, but hip hop does have a very unique position. And quite frankly, if these rappers could capture their sales really in streaming, I think it wouldn't be even a question, right? And I'll pause right there.
who's the biggest artist in the world? Right? He's black.
Eminem.
No,
Drake.
Michael Jackson.
You mean Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah,
He's black.
yeah, yeah.
Different genre of music doesn't matter.
Mhm.
This has been going on for a long time. Okay,
But
it's
But,
here's
not
my
but,
new.
but I
question, though.
wasn't
As
making
we're
the
talking about
argument. I
class,
wasn't making the argument about genre. I was making the argument about black male artists.
Yes.
Whether it is like you say hip hop, or whether it's Prince or Michael Jackson, is black male artists.
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
but here's the thing, though. My question was more in line with the class thing and the image that black people have. Whenever you turn on the television, more people associate black men with Snoop Dogg than they do with Nirvana, with Motley Crue, or whoever it is that you talk about. Whenever you think about white people, you think of the whole gamut of those different things, and it's okay for them to reach out and try to become something more than what you see as the typical stereotype.
Well, that's
That's not.
But
purposeful,
I
That's not.
think
ain't it?
one of the
That's not true because
that's
what
what I was
about
gonna say
what
exactly.
about athletes, or
Mhm.
boxers, or
Mhm.
other
Okay,
kind of people like that, or actors?
let's add
You're
entertainment in
actually
there.
making my point with the athletes, by the way, but go ahead.
But what is it that black people
Michael
doing
B. Jordan.
in the
Yeah,
elite
same
class
thing.
that's beyond entertainment? You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
if
but
your only argument for anything that black people are doing in the elite realm is geared towards artistry, then what do we really have as a culture? We don't have much.
That is a
yeah,
culture.
Yeah,
thank you.
artistry.
All right.
And in a weird
I
way,
mean,
you're
and
backdooring.
to be fair, there were influences
And
on
kind
the
of
culture.
share the stage a little bit. Okay. Kind of share the stage a little bit. Go ahead, Uru, finish your thought, because Z was
Well,
trying to
I
get
mean,
in.
to be
Dre's
fair,
gonna get in.
there have been efforts to affect the art, the culture artistically by black people. I mean, we had the recent passing of the late great Sidney Poitier, for
Yeah.
example. I mean, there have been efforts by black people, black men in particular, to influence the image and the likeness of black people, especially black men, in a very positive way. Unfortunately, that has gone awry in the last 30 or so years. But
Okay.
as recently, I mean, you had, even in hip hop, you had a lot of efforts being made to present a very
Yeah.
positive image of
Mhm.
I
black
know. Well,
people, especially black men.
I'm trying to get to the essence of what James is trying to say, right? Okay. What are you trying to say about black culture? Okay. Sam, I should say, Sam.
Oh, my bad. So all I'm asking is to my comment earlier is, do black people have enough self-determination to be able to guide what image are put out there
No,
enough
no.
It's
to
just,
influence our own
and I
people?
would say
And that's why I
Where,
said that black people are not significant in that realm.
where does the money come from?
thank you.
We're not a society
We're
by
not in a
ourselves.
vacuum.
We're not in a vacuum. Where's the money come from?
It
And
comes
so
from white
this is
people.
look, and this is
Hold on,
why
Z,
I'm sorry,
Z.
sir.
Can I please? It's
I'm
okay.
sorry, BJ.
All right, thank
I'm on
you.
it right now. I'm sorry.
I know.
Me too, bro.
He asked the question. I'm trying to tease out some answers. Okay, okay. And you just killed my flow.
My apologies.
What ask the question again, Sam.
I asked the question that if there are enough of those elite black people
No,
to kind of have their own self-determination
no,
to decide their own type of
no,
image in a
no.
productive manner.
And when they do try to do that, change the flow of black people and black culture, black sub society, what happens to them?
They get
You get
beat.
knocked off.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What happened to Cosby when he tried to take over NBC?
Right.
Come on, man.
What
It
Thank
went
you.
down.
what happened?
Who owns the
Can I please finish my thought? Is it okay? I gave you guys chances to speak. I tried to do that, right? But when I get my time, I want my time, right? Without interruption, if that's okay. Okay. I'm trying to go someplace with this. What just happened to Robert Smith with the taxes?
Yep.
He was trying to do something, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Either they're actually bought out, or they're submarine, or or they have their businesses taken, or something like that.
Hmm.
Guess what? Because we're not in control of the society, right? Right, Sam?
Yep.
Have you heard
That's
that or
correct.
seen that?
Yeah,
But
I have.
About businessmen
but
being
yeah,
hanged, about businessmen being hanged in their suits?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I agree
Okay.
with that.
So
but
now,
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody is above that. They do that to everybody. It's like basically anybody that stands up against whatever notion it is. You know, all of a sudden a scandal is going to come out. You might have looked at a dog the wrong way the other day, or you stepped on an ant when you came outside today. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, the art of public opinion has destroyed more people than anything else. And sometimes you might say, well, it may not do no damage immediately, but sometimes you don't realize the damage that it does. Like sometimes a lie told at the right time could be the difference of you getting a job and not. You know, even though we found out that it was a lie, and some people say, oh, no harm done, you don't know what, you know, maybe I had some business opportunities in the work, and that lie came out at the right time to where that other person was chosen for that job instead of me. You know.
Well, but as far as black
And,
men, how long has that been going on?
but that's the standard operating procedure, and that's why I try to tell people.
I know, but how long has that
it's
been
been
going
going
for black
on
men?
since slavery. Period.
Thank you.
And it's still going on. And unfortunately, the black people that think that it's going to change. No, I mean, I understand that people are listening to us, but this YouTube shit and all this other shit, and even as Kevin Samuels, as big as he is, that's still a drop in the bucket compared to all the other crap out there.
The thing is that it is already changing. Okay,
it's slowly. I mean, it ain't gonna be no. This ain't gonna be no change that's going. By the time we ain't gonna feel the effects of
you're already feeling the effects. You're already feeling it. You're already feeling it. It's gonna be a lot swifter than people think.
I don't know.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie.
You know, Dre. You know where
Dre,
you're gonna feel it, Dre.
No.
You're gonna feel it in the decision that your son makes.
Okay,
That's where you're gonna feel it.
It's not gonna be a swift. You really want to know? I'm gonna let you know. It'll be a swift change. Once, remember, like I said, once eggs get broken. Once eggs get broke, that's when that change. You will see a.
what do you mean by eggs? What do you mean by eggs getting broken?
You know what I mean by that.
In other words, let me ask you, where are decisions made as far as how long did it take for Me Too to change things?
Once, like I said, once somebody gets hurt or something like that, or once it really
how long did it take
a ton of money
to change it?
How
long did it take Me Too to get going?
Less than 10 years.
It took about 4 years for Me Too to get going, right?
And what's so bad? Even as like I sit there and watch everybody talking about Johnny Depp, he won. No offense, he won because he won, but he really lost.
How long?
That's like saying,
How long after O.J. Simpson did violence against women change? How
She
long
like
did it take?
instantly.
That was like
The next month.
that
How
was
long?
Blink.
like
How
The answer is
long?
blink.
How long did it take, sir? Exit the vehicle. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
no,
but
that,
You-
that,
I-
that didn't take that long after OJ.
what's
Yeah,
clear
that-
about
You know,
hip hop?
because I wanted to get this out, and it's
Go ahead.
because of my background being Haitian descent. I really want to stress this. When it wasn't the Haitian doctors and the lawyers and the respectable Haitians that changed being Haitian into not being a negative anymore. It was the Haitian street cats putting in work, right? And so I'm careful in how I talk about these things because I understand. And even when we talk about Italians, most people don't know that how much of Bank of America Italians helped to put together, right? Like you don't know that. Nobody, and quite frankly, nobody cares. But you do know about some mob shit though, right? So like
Mhm.
that's not exclusive. Even the Irish, right? Yeah, now we know some of them are in police and in firefighter, but you rewind 50, 60, 70 years ago, that was a different conversation. It was
And
street
Z,
shit. So
you
go
you
ahead.
notice the difference. You notice the difference between those groups and us is that Black America is not supposed to be headed and led in our aesthetic or even our hierarchies aren't supposed to be organized by Black men. They haven't ever supposed to be, like you guys pointed out. They kill you
There's
soon as
other
a
there's
Black
other
man
one
stands
glaring
up.
example you missed though.
What?
They're white. I don't know why
Right.
y'all be skipping that. Like, and this is the point. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't mean you Black people don't try or Black people don't aspire or don't like. But the class structure thing, once again, it's a forced classification, like DC says all the time. And all I hear from Black people oftentimes is trying to respectable your way into
Right.
something that's purposely pushing you out.
Trying to
It's not
crowbar
only the
your
other
way.
crabs in the
Yeah.
barrel; it's the hand pushing the
So,
crabs
so
back
what you're
in.
The
saying
problem
is
with that, Zito, is
the
this: the
Italian.
difference
Who's first?
between what you
Who's
said
Who's
is,
first? Uru or
uh,
Jesse? Who's first?
Jesse, let
I'll
Jesse
go
go.
ahead. The difference
I'm just waiting.
between ADOS and those other group of people that you mentioned is that those other group of people, in my opinion, never had that class of those people being put into the forefront. So you never, correct me if I'm wrong, but you never had the mobsters, and the Irish gangsters being like the main image of that group. Whereas since the hip hop,
70 years ago.
No.
since the
Let
hip,
me explain
hold
to
on, let
you.
me finish. Wait,
A
let me
Jewish
finish.
guy,
Yeah,
a
okay.
Jewish
Hold on.
guy.
Let him finish. Let him finish, Uru, and then you can go. Go ahead, finish real quick.
Yeah.
That's why you got to shorten your answers.
So if you look at what happened with the hip hop situation, that has pushed the gangster image, and it has pretty much like prior to hip hop and stuff like that. You didn't have all of these Black people that want to be gangsters. You just had regular Black people, regular go to work, work
Hey,
at the mill,
Jesse,
work at the
Jesse,
Mm,
what about black exploitation films?
you see what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah. But finish up. Finish up real quick. Uru, go ahead. Jump in. Black exploitation films
I
in the
mean,
'70s.
a Jewish guy or gal can graduate into being white. An Italian guy and gal of the 1930s or 40s or 50s can graduate into being white. An Italian guy, father could have been a mobster, send his daughter to Columbia or Harvard,
Yep.
she
Yep.
graduates into being white. It's
Yes.
just that easy.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing we can do to graduate into being white.
No,
That's
And
not
the
that's the
really.
fundamental
class,
difference. That's the
and
fundamental difference.
Black.
that's
Okay.
the
I don't
major
think
class
Black.
structure in America that we don't.
Go ahead, James.
Nah,
No, I was just basically gonna say, I think one of the things when it comes to classism in our community is that, you know what I'm saying, we just don't respect it. Like it's like this consistent battling of using religion, using other doctrines to say no, we don't deserve to have structure. I mean, you saw that earlier with
Yeah.
John Baptist, you know what I'm saying? And this is why we have this lack of consistency and also just lack of growth, because some people just say, well, I don't believe in this. But at the end of the day, the Bible is structured. There has to be order. And we keep going back to this narrative. And then when we spill over, we start to see why we have a huge disconnect.
Yeah.
That's
The
But
true.
James,
coon
think
thing.
about what you're asking Black people.
Oh,
You're asking Black people in America, the lower class Black people and middle class Black people to to be in a structure that fundamentally says that you're better than them because of something else, because of something some white person said, which I'm not saying is bad. I'm just saying, think about what you asking them to do. Yeah, you better than me, nigga, because some white person approved
I
of you.
don't think black people have a problem with order and even class. The issue with any kind of hierarchy is, can you enforce and maintain the criteria of the hierarchy?
Yeah,
Can you ensure, for example, your
problem
upper
with
middle class daughter don't fuck and make a baby with poop?
Black
There you
people
go.
do have a
Yeah.
problem with class. They
They
really
do.
do.
I agree,
They
BGS.
really do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They do, but it's only to the extent to which whether or not you can actually enforce that class structure. Because let's be real, BGS, and you know this better than I do, most class structure is a product of some kind of conquering, of some kind of killing and maintaining, and now you're the duke. No, I'm just saying. I'm saying historically, when you look,
No, it naturally
when
emerges.
you look at an aristocratic order, when you look at an aristocratic order, the origin of most aristocratic order have some sort of taking and conquering and whatever, and then a perpetuation of that order beyond that point. As the you're the first, you're the third, you're the fifth earl of whatever. You've been assigned to this by some king or some shit like that.
Hierarchy is organic.
It's organic. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying the origin of most aristocratic
No, it's not.
It originates out of the bush.
Yes.
It's the first thing we did. We organized ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm saying most aristocratic order in the Western world. Most aristocratic order in the Western world. Why do you guys suppose, for example, that, JFK or George Bush Sr. Why were those guys required? They were required to be officers in the military. They were required to be. It was necessary because that was a part of them qualifying to be in positions of leadership.
Uru. What kind of government do we have? It's republic,
we have a republic. Yeah.
Where was the first republic?
It was Rome, right?
Rome. Yeah. If you want to be in leadership, what did you have to do in Rome?
Well, it was either a product. You either was a part of the. No. Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
You were either a part of the aristocratic order of the founding of Rome, or you were a part of some sort of military. But even like Caesar was an aristocrat. Caesar wasn't a plebeian. He was an aristocrat. But he was also an aristocrat.
Caesar.
Can I explain it?
What did Caesar have to do to actually become a part of the political order? He had to serve.
Yes, but he was also an aristocrat. He was not a plebeian. He did not work himself up.
It doesn't matter, Uru.
But what I'm saying is the fact that he got in a position to even be a leader and then ultimately an emperor.
Listen to me, Uru. Everybody on the Senate, everybody in political life had to serve. Everyone.
And most of them served wasn't part of function of their aristocratic position. That's why when you look throughout Europe, most of your generals, most of your leaders of military campaigns were aristocrats. Most of them were.
But you still had to serve, Uru.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing that you did not. Of course, you had to serve, but part of your validation for being an aristocrat was your service. Part of it was you had to be. King Henry had to be on the front line of a military.
So now you've answered your question, Uru. In a republic, that had to be done. In China, it didn't have to be done. In other places, it didn't have to be done. Okay, you didn't have to do that. In England, you didn't have to be a part of the military.
China's different from this standpoint because China's so fucking old. China's fucking 5,000. China's fucking 5,000 years old. So maintain even the establishment.
And what I'm trying to tell you is that in a republic that's necessary. Okay, That's why it's so important. That's why you have a commander in chief, right?
Yeah,
That's Caesar.
in
But,
antiquity,
but, but why
the
were
main
prior?
motive, the
Why were
main
prior
mode of
to?
scaling
I
a
can kill it
hierarchy.
immediately, Uro. Okay. Caesar, do you know who Caesar's greatest inspiration was? Was the things he did. His forebearer, who was Sulla. And Sulla was not an aristocrat. He was a normal plebe, a pleb. That is in Rome, when you use Rome, in Rome, even if you're an aristocrat, you had to go through nearly 30 years of office, different kinds of offices, before you went into the Senate.
I haven't not argued. My point is, part of your being in an aristocratic position was your service, was a
Yes.
service of sacrifice.
Yeah, but didn't you listen to me? One of his inspiration was literally a peasant, because in a republic, that was the entire thing.
His inspiration was fine. But what I'm saying is, look, in most societies, in most culture, you don't even get into the position of being a leader unless you were born into a
That's the
certain
only way to
position.
scale a
Which
hierarchy.
society
You
are you
don't even
talking
get
about?
to a position of being a lieutenant or lieutenant in certain areas in which, unless you were born into a
Which
particular
society are you
family.
talking about?
So where did John Kennedy go to school?
Well, he went to Harvard, obviously.
Well, naturally, okay.
Yeah, but his daddy, depending on what you say, his daddy bought his way into Harvard.
Of
He
course.
paid his way.
Joe Kennedy.
And this is the other, and this
It
is
doesn't
there's a
matter,
reason
Uru.
why he married Jacqueline Bouvier.
Of
He
course.
married her
Uru.
because she was from an aristocratic
Why
northeastern family.
BJS, you mind if I?
go ahead. What I'm saying, you proving our point, Uru. Go ahead.
Uru, first of all, the end result is to be in those positions of power. It doesn't matter where it starts from. This is why you have the mobsters. No, they always wanted to send their kids to the best school because everything has a time frame.
That's how you scale the hierarchy.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, that's
the-
what I said earlier. That the mobsters didn't I not say earlier that the mobsters send their kids to
I know,
school?
but Joe Kennedy was also a banker.
Yeah. So at the end of the day,
Yeah, but he was also a bootlegger. But go
It
ahead.
doesn't matter. It doesn't.
And he also graduated from Harvard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter where you start from; it's where you end. That's why, like, you know, the Kennedys, the Bushes, they have ending legacies, no matter what the money came from. Because at the end of the road, the founding father, whoever that head was, said, "This is where we're going to end up." This is a situation in the Black community where you have these great dissensions because there are a lot of individuals in our community that don't want to end up in the higher positions. So
yeah, but they didn't pick George Washington out of nowhere.
Okay, finish up. Go, Mr. Z, and then who hasn't spoken?
Let me hop in. Okay. Let him go. I'll go after him. Go ahead. I'll go after him. Just remember.
Well, I think what we're missing is these are the systems in which hierarchies are scaled or classes are scaled. In antiquity, military action and fighting in monarchies and in less sophisticated systems, like we're in a democratic capitalist republic or whatever, it's a functioning system at the yield it functions because they've invented or organized multiple ways outside of military action and conquest to scale hierarchies. That's part of the reason why a mobster knew he had to send his kid to Harvard to actually continue to scale and keep making money legally, or to start making money legally. Mm-hmm. So to scale a hierarchy, our problem in the Black community is that we don't even have really a concept of hierarchy or class. Even if we do, we reject it to the point we don't have a concept. To scale a hierarchy within a contemporary system is not through military action anymore, because it's more sophisticated. You can do through education, you can do through pedigree, you can do through network, you can do through several modes that allow you to scale a hierarchy. So it's not necessarily every hierarchy is scaled in a particular system, a particular way. You only have a certain type of option. Caesar didn't have the options in ancient Rome. Conquest and war was the way you got to the highest seat. That was the only mode of mobility of the hierarchy.
But Caesar don't get to be in the position to become Caesar were it not for his family.
True.
Caesar was not a plebeian. Caesar was not hoi polloi. He was not some average dude. He came, but he
But he
was
wasn't. He
born
also wasn't
into
in
an
a
aristocrat.
royal line. He
Caesar
wasn't in
was
the royal
born
line.
One
into
time.
Caesar
But
was born into an aristocratic Roman family.
I know,
Yeah,
but
but he was
what I'm
broke.
saying, what I'm
Caesar
saying
was
is,
broke.
what I'm saying is, you asked the question was, why did John F. Kennedy participate in the military?
That was his way of validating his right to be a leader of this country.
So
That was exactly
guess
and
who else
his
served?
father, because remember his older brother was the one who was
Died in the
supposed to
war.
become
Yes,
president,
exactly. I was trying to
Joseph
say that.
Kennedy Jr.
Guess who else?
He died in the war. So it was
Hmm.
all about, they made a point. This
Guess
is our way
guess
of
who else served?
graduating.
Guess who else served with him? That was president Bush.
Well, I don't know.
Bush.
But
Bush,
I mean, Bush was in that same
Yeah.
war. Yeah,
Bush.
yeah. Bush
Senior.
Senior. Yeah, George Senior was in that same war.
Hmm.
he's come from an old banking family, right?
Hmm.
But he had to validate himself.
But that's my point. But
Hmm.
like you just said, he came from an old banking family, from a particular aristocratic position where he was required to validate his right and his ability to be a leader of this country.
In this particular system, for the way it's built,
Yes.
that's always
Right.
been built that
Yes.
way. Okay, it's always been
So-
built that way.
And mobility has expanded since then because now we got like Mark Zuckerberg type people that can have power like a general, essentially. Because the
BGS,
wealth he can
you're old
acquire
enough
through
to require
education.
BGS, you're old enough to remember how much of a fuss they made about Clinton not having served. Don't you remember that?
Yeah.
That was the reason why they made such a big fuss
Yeah,
about him, because he, unlike all his predecessors before, Carter had been a nuclear physics, had been in the Navy, and Bush Senior had
Bush
been.
Senior,
All those prior guys
Ford,
had
Nick,
been,
all of them.
yeah.
I don't think
So that's why they made such a big fuss about Clinton.
It's always a question about serving in the military when you're an American president. Everybody gets that question.
And
right?
essentially, at the highest office of leadership of any nation, you would imagine. I'm sure that's consistent, like because America functions that way from a remnant of Europe, Europe.
Look, every king is a descendant of a guy who killed a lot of people and took some shit. Every king. Every king is a descendant of somebody at some point who took some land, planted a flag, and killed a lot of people.
Well, in the monarchy, that's not how it. In a monarchy, you can't essentially just rise up through the ranks. You have to be part of.
No,
that's a
I'm
different
saying
system.
the founding
original.
Yeah,
but what he's saying makes sense.
Of a country. I'm saying the founding of a country.
Yeah, right. Well, the European style monarchies that Americans descend, like our founding fathers descend out of, didn't function. They didn't have upward mobility. That was precisely why those type of systems don't sustain. It codifies the hierarchy. If you don't give, that's why America is so successful and people imitate it. China's imitating or a similar system that allows the at least illusion of the ability to scale.
Yeah, but America's only a couple of hundred years old.
And we want to get a couple of people in. Go ahead, Snake Man, and then
Z,
Charles.
because Z forgot. So we forgot Z was supposed to go against before.
No, Mr. Z, do you want?
We're gonna forget it this time. Yeah, go ahead. Mr. Z gets his a lot of takes in, but go ahead, Snake Man, go ahead.
Okay,
slow down, Snake Man, so we can understand you.
I just wanted to say, like what Mr. BGS said, in a republic, you must go through different kind of services. And because we are in a republic, you need money, because that is the only de facto difference between classes, like in ancient Rome. That's why I don't like the example of Caesar, because Caesar, in his earlier life, because he came from nobility, yes, he had the right to directly go to the Senate and apply for it. But the problem was he was broke. He had to lick the ass of all the rich people who didn't come from nobility, like Crassus and Sulla.
That's correct.
And he only got power after his campaigning goal because he got money. In a republic, how higher your position is, as richer you get. That's why in America, most of the politicians who come from legacies are rich. But that doesn't mean that there are some kind of nobility class, because in a republic it should be possible, like in Rome, that someone who comes from lower classes can ascend to the highest position. But in
True.
Rome, because
Mobility,
Rome had many emperors whose fathers were slaves or themselves were slaves. Just to give you an example.
Yeah. Charles, go ahead.
But the reason why that happened.
Charles, go ahead.
Okay. Look, this whole taste of hierarchy, black people don't like it because black people don't want to be told. People don't want to say that person is my better.
Yep.
That's in a lot of black people's mouths for what? Even though there are people who you're better, there are people who are smarter, there are people who just generally outrank you. This is the reason why black women have bought that feminist shit hook, line, and the sinker. They don't want to be told that somebody's greater. They want it's like I said before. I never seen such a creature that wants to be treated equally but still protected. Oh, you're my
Special
equal.
and equal.
I don't have to protect you. This is what you for. You didn't even fight for it, as a matter of fact. You begged and whined for it. So when you look at black men, because of this gynocentric thinking process, really don't like it, because they like, yo, this nigga think he better than me. We don't like. Well, it's like the old saying: everybody wish you well, just not better than them.
Yep.
We don't like success in this community. We really don't. Because one, you got to think about it. Your women are taught to have a fear of failure. You're taught to have a fear of success. Like, I've never seen anybody else in any culture that says, if I get good grades, everybody gonna look at me different. Like, for some,
white.
this is, and it also you can see the generations because of the lack of boys going to the military now about hierarchy. Like, you're not gonna talk to the post general. You won't even see him. There are certain people who when I was in the military, you didn't even speak to. And that's something foreign to black people, because we think we can go up to 60-year-old men and just talk to them any time of way you want. And you're like early 20.
Right.
Hey, Charles, can I ask you a question about the military?
I suppose.
Have you observed the majority of black men in the military having a problem with taking orders?
You won't last there long if you do.
Yeah,
so
that's a no.
No, you didn't answer my question.
You didn't answer.
I'm saying, have you observed that the majority of black men in the military have a problem with taking orders?
Nope, because if you did,
Okay.
you.
All right. Pause.
Let him finish. There's a reason for that.
This is the reason why. This is the reason why they have a pecking order. They have the system, like in basic training, where you have black guys who were not good at listening and they kicked them out.
Okay, I'm going to make this argument, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Obviously, I don't think the majority of black men have a problem with taking orders. Once it's clear to them what the order will be, what the criteria will be, what the objectives and what we're trying to achieve will be.
Definitely.
I don't think the majority of men of black men in a serious environment where it's clear to them what they're trying and what they need to achieve, I don't think the majority of black men have a problem with that. Now, do some of them have a problem with it? Sure. But the majority, that's not been my observation.
I disagree.
Let it go ahead and answer, Charles.
One, majority of black men do have a problem.
Yep.
And I can prove it to you in one failed statement. Do black men work well together overall? No.
All right. Well, let me ask you a question about the military then. Do the majority of black men who enter the military, are the majority of black men who enter the military kicked out of the military?
Nope, because those
Okay,
are different
so
people.
so that means that the majority,
Why? Let me
so
answer
the numbers say that the majority of black men are able to find a way to abide the criteria in the military.
Black men of a different mindset than the majority.
How many? What's the percentage of black men actually apply to the military in the first place?
Well, we're not talking about that because
no. We are.
No, because okay, then the question would have to be.
Hold on a second, right? There's a reason that things happen, right? Because we've been through this, right? How many black men actually apply to the military, and why don't they?
About 28-30%.
They don't like following
28%. He good shit. Yeah.
I don't think
and
that's
you wouldn't
the
get
reason
counted
why.
if you
I
don't
don't
make
think
it
that's
through
the
basic
reason why most men. So are we saying that all black men should apply to the military? Is that what we're arguing?
We're not saying
that. But here's
the proportion.
Here's the question, right? A lot of black men, for multiple reasons, do not join the military. One of the biggest reasons is because who has control over the board? Majority in our fucking system. Majority of the time, it's their mama telling them, "Oh, it's gonna be gay," but yet their mama.
I think there's a lot of reasons why men of all types, not just exclusively black men, but certainly black men, do not.
We're not gonna move the goalposts. Hold on. We're not gonna move that goalpost there, son. We gotta remember this. When we're talking about just black men, our problems are very unique. Very unique. And you gotta look at it. One, you're in a gynocentric culture. Because there's mothers who don't even want their sons to go to college, but push their girls to go.
Okay. Do the majority of Indian American men?
That's a different
culture. Hold on now. Do the majority of Indian American men attempt to become military men?
No.
Do the majority? Hold on. Let me finish now. Do the majority of Korean? Do the majority of Korean American men attempt to become military men?
Nope.
Do the majority of Middle Eastern men attempt to become military men?
You know why?
Do the majority of Latino American men? So to make this argument that there's something uniquely dysfunctional about black men not wanting to become military men, that's a fallacious argument.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's a fallacious argument.
No, it's not.
It is a fallacious argument because most American men. Most white men are not trying to join the military. Most white men are not trying to join the American military.
They've asked black men why they don't want to join the military.
I'm saying whether or not the majority of black men.
They've asked. Okay.
Let me point out something real quick that you said. Because we're gonna bottle up all the bullshit and toss it out with the garbage. One, when you look at a lot of these Arab and Korean families, majority of these motherfuckers already got loans and businesses in some form or fashion, especially if they're immigrants. How many black boys got that privilege? So how many?
Look, if you can create. Hold on. You asked me a question. You asked me a question.
All right. Hey. Okay.
I'm just saying. You asked me a question.
Okay. Finish up the argument because I got a whole pump.
Because you got to look at it. A lot of those families ran from their militaries, but you'll have a large contingent of what? Hispanic, black, and white. A majority of the men in the military. So when you're looking at it, and the only way to come up and get out for a lot of people who are in this country who are mostly born here, in order to get up out the system, a lot of people had to join the military. But here's the problem: when you're looking at black men, a lot of one is because you're not pushed into that direction as much as you used to be years, decades ago. Two, look at the scores of the boys in school.
Can I piggyback on this, BGS?
Yeah.
Who's speaking?
Me, James.
Okay, real quick, and the librarian's
Yeah.
gonna come in.
So Black Guru, I think you bring up all these other individual races. You fail to understand, or again, this is my perception of what you fail to understand, is that one, most of those structures have a male patriarchy dominance. In the black community, even from childbirth, if it's majority, if the women are running the show,
Can we focus on the military? We were talking about the military.
All right,
We were talking about the military.
Hold on.
We were talking about.
I'm gonna mute him. Okay, finish your thought. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to start muting people. Okay.
Yeah. So the thing that you won't focus on the military, right? But again, it goes back to structure in the household. If there's a strong structure, there's no reason or even push to go into the military because there's certain things in place. And if there is, it's actually influenced by the male. And the other thing is, when we talk about, you bring up the concept of just other men. The thing that we also realize that black boys have always been neutered to be in a very submissive position. Even if you have a black boy who wants to actually do something outside the military that's productive. No, you got to come home, do what I tell you, and then go do something crazy, sell some drugs, do something that has nothing to do with productivity in society.
Yeah. I was surprised. I heard a female pastor say,
Can I make a response, or am I going to be mute?
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me clear this up, right? I'm going to ask you to let somebody stop talking over people, right? Number one, I'm going to ask you to let people finish their thought, and then I'm going to start muting people if you don't. I don't want to mute people. I want people to have self-control. Are we clear?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll ask before I actually do something. I've asked you like how many times, Uru? Just in this call. I don't want to mute you, okay? I want the guy to finish his thought. Okay?
I mean, I don't mind. Look, first of all, I don't mind you muting. I know. I don't really, I'm not bothered by that. But I'm just saying that statistically, there has been no more faithful contributor to the United States military than your foundational ADOS black man. Throughout history.
But it's the reason why.
From the founding of the... Okay, other people gonna get muted, or can I fucking make my statement?
What did I just say? What did I just say?
I'm talking to this fool.
What did I say?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Listen to me. What I was trying to stop him from interrupting you. I said, let me finish your thought, okay? I wasn't talking to you. Finish your thought.
I'm just saying, statistically, there have been no group of men in the history of this country that have been more dedicated to protecting this country than ADOS men. I mean, like as recently as like the 1990s, like a fucking quarter of the American military were black men. So this business of this notion of black men not wanting to stand and defend this country, that's ahistorical. That's ahistorical.
Okay. Let me explain this to you as succinctly as I can, right? When this country has a problem, what do? They study the problem. Okay? They don't just assume, they study it, okay? And this is where the knowledge comes from. Black men do have a problem with authority, okay? They always have, okay? They do.
Always have. I don't believe. How do you quantify that? How do you quantify that?
Go ahead.
No. BGS. How do you quantify black men having a problem with authority?
How you quantify?
Because I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
You don't have to agree. We see it in school.
No, I'm saying, how do you quantify that? Historically, have black
Histor-
men
hi-
had a
histor-
problem with authority? I don't
historically,
see the evidence of that.
okay,
It's very
historically,
easy.
historically, all you got to do is go back and read the literature over a couple hundred years. Okay, all you got to do is go back and read the literature.
I
What have
mean,
black men collectively, historically, refused to do that other men have done in this country?
slavery.
Look at this generation now.
No, I'm not talking about this generation now. Fuck the generation now.
And,
I'm talking about historic.
in other words, how come black folks have never really joined the police force even when asked?
Well, from what I've seen, and this is anecdotal. This is anecdotal. So I can't speak because I have not observed the statistics. I have known at least 20 brothers who tried to get to become either get into CPS or Chicago Police Department, CPD, Chicago Police Department, or the IPS, the Illinois State Police. And I saw for whatever assortment of fallacious reasons their applications were denied. And I have not seen or read a study on it, so I'm sure this could be disproven. But I would argue there's a higher proportion of black men, for whatever reasons, have been denied opportunities to become law enforcement than other men. I would make that argument.
Can I make an argument before you skip to the police part?
I'm gonna say this real quick. Here's one of the things that recruiting almost said. One, when you go up to black dudes, a lot of black dudes who want to join, I don't want to do that. And a lot, and the ones who
I'm not talking about those dudes. I'm talking about the dudes who have filed. I'm talking about the dudes who have filed an application. I'm talking about the dudes who.
You're doing it again.
You gotta remember, one of the biggest things my boy in recruiting said: one is the record. Two, they don't want to do it. Three, past drug history. Four, not knowing how to dress to come to an interview. They will get rid of you so quick on that shit. You had a dude with some khaki pants, some Timbs, and a button-up shirt. They said business attire. They said, no. Following the directions of what the recruitment requires. That's one of the biggest fucking issues. If you tell me, one of the biggest issues is that black men typically have an issue against male authority.
Well, okay, but if you have a record or drug record or whatever as a black man, particularly a black man who has come up in the post crack era or whatever, you have a particular record that is designed to preclude you from being able to qualify for becoming law enforcement.
Okay.
And with all due respect,
hold on. I want to say something, right? Okay. What I'm trying to do is actually even out this panel, right? You can't dominate the whole panel. Is that clear? I'm shortening up your answers so I get other people in. Is that okay?
Okay.
It's your panel, of course. It's okay.
Two people. I'm trying to make it fair to everybody. The judge don't like waiting. Lightbearer don't like waiting. James don't like waiting. Okay. Snakeman doesn't like waiting. Jesse don't like waiting. Okay. Can't dominate the panel. Is that okay?
Just going to end it off with this. There's a difference between drug possession, which they're more lenient on, versus distribution. There are people who got their records expunged from possession versus distribution. A lot of times when you look at it, hell, even as a coach, one of the biggest issues is breaking them in to male authority. They don't want to listen to men.
It's not even such words.
Okay, but would you think that it's not that they don't want to listen to men, but one of the things we've done, especially that runs rampant in I do admit, I believe we the men follow directions a lot more than the women. But one of the things we've done in our culture, especially, it's like it's like looked at as a negative for anybody to tell you what to do. I mean, when you've been born and raised, nobody tell me what to do. It only translates to, as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's one bad thing that runs with our culture really bad. But one of the things I will say, as the
You don't
men
remind me
get
of the
older, it's rampant in the women because
smart shrimp.
unfortunately they don't
They
get
took all
touched
the
as much.
they took my smart.
And where with the men, we realize a pecking order earlier when you sit up here and say, I ain't gonna talk shit to
It was
Mike Tyson
dishwasher
because he
here,
might
but I
knock me
assumed
out.
other people started putting their stuff in there as well.
Well, damn, can
But
I speak?
No, he's not talking to us.
Oh,
I'm
okay. You
muting.
need to mute, brother.
I did.
Yeah, okay. But I'm saying, it's one of the things where we already know. I know I can't sit up here and talk shit to everybody because there's always going to be somebody bigger and stronger or whatever, and they're going to come. We realize that there's consequences for speaking out. We realize, I know if I go ahead and talk shit, somebody might knock my head off. We realize that at a young age. Also, we realize that even if we don't get hit, we get punished. We realize that. That's the reason why, if you realize, the save yourself black men, that ain't really about them doing anything. That's them just walking away and not even playing no more.
Okay,
No,
can
real quick, like
Go
a
ahead.
minute. My librarian wants to get in.
Go ahead.
that's okay.
No, go ahead, Snake Man. Real quick. No, real quick. Go ahead.
That's okay. The problem I see in this discussion, because we're talking about black men and authority, and it's not even black men and authority for me, because what I always talk here and always try to promote is centralization of power, because that is something that even in this discussion I see there is no centralization of authority, because I don't think that black men or black people have problem following orders or have problem with structures. I think it's more structures that leads to centralized power, the accumulation of power, because I think black men have no problem following a structure that in the end breeds more chaos.
Well,
But that is only temporary. That is not only
you
temporary.
know why they join the gangs and stuff like that? Is because they don't want to follow the instructions of the normal order. Okay.
Yeah, because a gang is a structure, but a gang is a
But
temporary
that
structure. Hold
does
on.
also mean that they're willing to follow a order.
Yes. But we talk. But the problem is, I think, because I talk more about it, is centralized long-term structure with a clear head, with a clear system, with a clear system of elevation. Basically, you must do such, so you can level up in the position. What I often see
Okay,
is that
but Snake,
individually.
Uru, don't do that. Come on.
But what I often see is that individually, keep your hand out of my pocket. I do my shit. We come together when it's necessary. But when the thing is over, we split up. We break up the system. We grab as much power and do our own shit. Never coming together. Never have a united structure over long term. Always like a quick cash grab. And then I'm out, and I don't give a fuck for the next generation as long I am good.
Yeah, go ahead, Uri.
But you got
to
qualify to be in the military. And if you've been sabotaged, for fucking 17, 18 years of your life, you're not even in a position to fucking get in the military.
I'm not talking about the military.
Hold on, let me finish now. I've waited. We're talking about we're making this argument. We're making this argument. We're making this argument that black men don't want to follow order, and I fundamentally disagree with that. Okay. I think the majority of brothers are begging and pleading for some sort of order, some sort of hierarchy that they can fucking trust.
I don't think so.
Now, unfortunately, some of them think that you can trust a gang. Some of them think they can trust a gang, which is obviously some bullshit. But a lot of brothers aren't in the military, not because they don't want to be in the military. A lot of brothers are in the military because the circumstances in their life has sabotaged their ability to qualify to be in the military.
Okay. All right, Lightbearer, go ahead.
Peace to the panel. Peace to everyone that's out there. Somebody just called me right then. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
got you.
hear you.
Oh, okay. Pretty much, Uru, one of the things when you started bringing in the other groups, first and foremost, you got to start adding in and including. You have to start adding in and including their ability to even not have the opportunity, but be able to even join in the first place. And I know that you're doing that, where you understand that some of their family members, that alone will disqualify them just for even being able to join, right? So, say for instance, you're related to a public official in India. Just you being related to that person now makes it a difficulty for you to even join to get, say, certain things like a security clearance or something like that. So when you said Indiana, then you started adding in all these other groups, it was like you was disqualifying some of them off rip. When it came to the Korean aspect of what you were saying, if they're going back home and they're serving in Korea, right, or if they have aspirations for serving in an office, they have to join the military. As a matter of fact, part of the thing within the Korean culture is you have to do 2 years, unless you have enough money to not do 2 years. Hello?
Yeah, we got you. We
So,
hear you.
so,
Oh, okay.
so, I mean, all right, okay. With all due respect, bro. So we're making the argument
Mm-hmm.
that other men outside of black men are more motivated to join the United States military than black men, but because of some combination of weird and elective circumstances, they are choosing to not apply. I mean, what
No,
are
no,
we
no. I wasn't
arguing
saying
here?
that. No, I wasn't saying
No,
that.
okay, but I'm
But
trying to
hold
understand.
on, let me finish this part there too. Let me finish this part too, because I,
Yeah,
I was trying
you
to
can't. Yeah,
get
well,
to
there's
each
somebody
and every
saying
one of your
who's
points.
hogging the mic, but yeah, go ahead, Liberia.
I was trying to get to all your points. And to be totally honest with you, I was one of those. Well, no, in some cases, but I have to fight it myself. I was one of those black children, black men that was always bucking the system and bucking at authority. I have to check myself very much so often in that case. But let's say, for instance, my group of friends. My group of friends were doing a bunch of stuff. And in that group of friends, this is anecdotal. I'm just using them first, and then I'm gonna move to another one as a recruiter. Only two of us out of the whole group joined the military. I even tried to get them to come in. I'm like, yo, it's you can make a whole bunch of money. You get a signing bonus. You get $40,000 off rip. This, and that, so on and so forth. I tried to get them in. They was like, man, I ain't doing that. That was the first part. Now, as a recruiter, when I had to come back and do my 1 year of recruiting, every single situation that I ran into when I was pulling somebody in and they were actually a good candidate, the good candidates, not even the bad ones, the good ones, I had to defeat the mindset of the mother, if anything, in order to get the child to want to actually finally say yes, I want to do it. Because at first when I was telling them everything and I was like, yo, I could coach you through the whole situation, I will give you a manual on what you need to do so then you can get a home before you actually leave the military. Like you can have, every time you go to a new place you'll get another you buy another home, this is added to your rich, all this type of stuff. I was telling these dudes how I could help them out in order to make this an easy transition for them to get. It when they heard it, they was in. The moment that the mother got included, it was a problem.
Yeah,
The moment the mother got included.
yeah, yeah.
And then now the last part is when it comes to like Charles was saying, the only time when it's a real situation of us having black men join in large numbers is when we need a fighting force. And a couple of times we needed a fighting force recently, so that opened up the gates in which we could actually start bringing people in. That were Some people were in situations where they had criminal records that were known about, but because we needed a fighting force at that particular time, they let that go. The moment that that fighting force was not needed in numbers, they started kicking people out, even down to the situation of if the but now it's not a bad thing, but if they were from the alphabet community, they were even kicking those people out after a while. They even did like two tricks to get them kicked out. But um that's neither here nor there. When they did not need those particular people, when they knew that these problem childs or these situations for these particular type of men were not, well, yeah, I'll say men, were not needed, all of a sudden they started eliminating those particular people out of those groups. Yes, you're saying that these men have stipulations and things that are stopping them from being able to excel. But like Charles said, also we have barriers in place for those particular type of problem childs, those particular type of mindsets, those particular type of untrainable personnel that if they're not able to, like, if they're not able to receive the significant emotional events, people who are out there, they know exactly what that statement, where that statement comes from. If they're not able to change from the significant emotional events, they're X'd out after a while, or they torture you to the point where you get yourself eliminated.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Or who you want to respond? Anybody else?
I could give an example of what I mean with centralized structure.
Go ahead.
I mean, the American military is about somewhere around 25 to 30% minority. What percentage of that group do you think are black men? I would argue that black men probably represent at least half, if not most of
Not
them.
even close. About 28 to 30.
So you're saying that what, Latino men or
Latino men are facing this in the military.
So there are more Latino men in the current American military than black men?
Yes. They're starting to outpace us now, yeah.
All right.
They are outpacing us in so many different ways. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to tell you, right? I'm going to tell you. Right? See, a lot of people don't like the cause and effect. You're being raised in a gynocentric world. See, white boys are trained. You know why they want to be shooters and all that? Why the Latino boys are raised to be men, warriors, and killers? We're raised to look cute. We're raised to be servants. So when you don't have the initiative or the push to be in the military, especially when I keep telling y'all this, like I've had to try to get people in, young men in, even just being a wrestling coach. Do you know how many times I had to tell the mother to leave the room? They went, "Oh, my baby gonna be, get the fuck out of my room." Because really, mothers are so distracting, but then they're the same motherfuckers who will ask, he can't get a job. He can't lead a house. You stifled him. You broke him. You expect, you really, see, here's the crazy part. We look at Granddaddy and all these people from World War II and Vietnam when it was like we needed bodies. Any man will do. If you got 2 legs, 2 arms, and a goddamn head, and sometimes they might let you go with like a half a foot. They're gonna put you in there. But
in Vietnam, they didn't volunteer either. They were thrown in.
Voluntold. They were voluntold. So even the goddamn World War II, a lot of people were drafted. Yeah, we paid a contribution to the military, but during normal times, no, you can't. It's hard to get black men to do shit, especially when it's organized. It is very hard. If that was true, the ADOS fucking movement wouldn't hit the hiccups that it hit.
Here's one of the other problems that I'm
we
running
can't hear
into.
You, Dre.
Okay, I think that I'm sorry, I muted myself. I said, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. We have a problem, and I said it's instilled in us from a young age of not following orders. Yeah. Unfortunately, because we was raised by women. A lot of us were raised by women. A lot of our society created basically by women. Women put out this notion nobody don't tell them what to do, no matter what. And then a lot of men try to live that way, and unfortunately, that's why you have the pitfalls and the effects of getting into trouble, problems with authority, and stuff like that. Because the men, they come down harder on you when you don't follow authority, when you don't do what you're supposed to do. I mean, you're not getting with the most important thing, which I always say is benefit of the doubt. Like as they say, ignorance of the law is not, doesn't mean anything. basically not knowing that you can't just say, "Oh, I was ignorant, I don't know." That's not a good excuse, and they really hold that bar high when it comes to us men. A lot of us learn when we get older that hey, you realize that certain things you can't do. Even employers start to realize that because they notice that the men are more likely to fall into line because the women they basically raised us. They said they want us to have a strong back but a weak mind.
Okay.
Go ahead, Snake
Yes.
Man.
The example I want to give, what I mean with centralized, because the military thing, I'm not in America, I cannot speak on it. The experts have talked, but to the centralized thing, what I mean is that centralization I'm talking about. It's not dependent on the state. It's something that happens in the culture itself. Like for example, for 1 year, the regional, let's call it, is actually, it's not a governor, but chieftain of my ethnicity, of my specific sub-ethnicity of my tribe, called, sent us a WhatsApp call and said, we have a sit down here in Berlin. We will meet at a hotel. Please, all tribe member, come here. We must talk something. And we came in mass. It was unofficially, and that's what I mean with centralized power. In the black community, is there some kind of centralized power that this power is basically claiming the black people and can say, hey, when there's a problem, we have a sit down and we talk about how we can solve this, or when we have, or if we make investment and moves, we come together and do something. Is there some kind of class in the black community that basically have authority over the people, over the specific ethnicity?
No, not anymore. It used to be the church at one point.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. And that's what I meant with centralized
Church, what's
leadership.
that?
That's what I meant with centralized leadership when I talk about it, because I think that because you live in a society, you can follow orders. It's a society, you must follow orders. I think you can follow structures, but when it comes down to the actually structures that centralized power in a specific area. In my case, it's an ethnicity or a tribe. Is
No,
there someone who basically can stamp with his foot and people will come to him to listen to him?
they killed those. Every time one of those rose, they pretty much killed them off.
We haven't had that in 50, 60 years.
Yeah, I mean,
Even back then, amongst the civil rights movement, only a small percentage of black people actually followed these people.
yeah,
Exactly. Most people would get along to stay along, keep quiet, and put your head down.
yeah.
See, this is the conflicting story when you hear brothers from Africa. America's a different monster altogether. America's a different monster. When you have young men, the few young men that do join the military, right? They got to go through so much shit and so many loopholes. Then when they get there, you got like I said before, one of the biggest things recruiting young men into male organized spaces is the mother. That's the biggest hurdle. The only time mama wants her boy to leave is so she can have the house to herself, and then when she finds out the money, she guilt trips the nigga.
Yep.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I had a nice talk with my sister, with my nephew, who's in active service right now as we speak. Stop begging that boy for fucking money. You're about to be 50. He's about to be 30. Stop it. But I'm his mother, not his fucking wife.
I just went through this last week.
Let's talk about it.
Just went through this last week, and I'm talking about for myself.
Oh, okay.
Like they, and this is not just my story, but I have other people that actually come to me with this type of situation. But that is very true. They constantly, once they understand that he's making a little bit of money, and it's only a little bit. When you come in as a private, if you come in as a private, it's only about 1,200. It probably went up a little bit now, but it's only 1,200 a month. Like you got kids in there that's giving their whole checkup, going to the BX, going to the places where they could eat for free, but they're sitting there paying their parents.
That's not new because they've been doing that for black kids, man,
Yep.
since emancipation. It's very
Yep.
common.
Very common. A lot of people, like, just give an example. I know a lot of people who went to the military. They did like 5-6 years in. They sent all their money home to their parents, and they was like, "Oh, we just save part of it." Parents spend every dime. They come home broke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like just give an example. My stepfather now, who's he sent enough money home. He was in the military that long. He sent enough money home, bought 2 houses for them. He had to come out and still get a job. But this family stole that much money from him.
Mm-hmm. It's very common.
To know that your parents done bought 2 houses off of you, and you had to come home, and you know what I mean.
Ask my father.
Thank God that you walked out with it. Like I said, thank God that you came out with a good job.
Mm.
You know, but I'm like, wow, your parents said, damn near you got 2 houses already, but you go bought.
But just ask my father when he came back from the when he was like sending money home to keep the house, and the mother let the house go. My grandmother.
Okay.
I mean, y'all got to realize is that when that boy or that young man who's coming from home, we always make it in our culture that boy's indebted to mom or whoever. When it's like, okay, if you choose to give something, that's cool. But guess what? Make your own life.
Well, unfortunately, and especially what runs rampant in the black community is, I hate to say, our women have been taught that, hey, they better get something from everybody. Everybody owes them, no matter, even their kids. And that's the reason why when you sit up here and say, well, wait a minute, if I owe my mom and I owe this person, I mean, I hate to say, that's part of the destruction. That's one of our Achilles heels we got really bad with us.
Part of the problem too is the lone wolf syndrome. They've embedded the lone wolf syndrome so much.
Say it again. Say it again.
They've embedded the lone wolf syndrome.
So Ur can actually hear it. Go say it again.
I'm a sufferer from this. As a matter of fact, one of my Masonic brothers said to me not too long ago, he said, you don't use your resources well. You always try to lone wolf stuff, and you have all the resources available to you. And literally, I was looking at that and looking at our situation overall, and it's true.
Yeah.
Like, it's so many boys and so many children that was told, you came in this world by yourself, you're gonna die by yourself, you don't need nobody else. So all those little phrases from the 80s and 90s, and now these people are grown adults and they don't know how to be a part of a community because they were always raised to be a part.
I agree. I kind of agree with that, because that's like, y'all look at me and say, damn, Dre could do every damn thing and you can work on this and work on that, but I hate to say, you got used to that being, well, you better be able to do everything for yourself. So I can say that that's one of the things that did push me. Like, some people it worked out good for, but I totally agree with that, because I've had family members say, well, wait, why didn't you call me? I got a friend that specializes in that. He would have hooked you up for free. And it's like, you don't even think, I mean, I hate to say, you don't even fathom even asking for help. That's one bad thing in the black community. I will admit, I have a problem like that. You don't even fathom to ask for help. It doesn't even cross your mind.
Even with my trading robots, I was starting a business, and I could not trust the people who were helping me write the code because I thought they were going to try to steal the code away from me. And that's part of the problem with the whole lone wolf situation as well. You don't trust people to do the job. Not that you don't just trust them, but you don't trust them to do the job that you would do, or that they would steal from you just to even get up and take your ideas from you.
Well, I was gonna say this. Even with the gynocracy, that they have trained us not to trust anything except for them, right? And they do the most damage and the most deception. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I think Brother Charles said in BGS, said, "Oh, give me the money. I'll take care of it." Your mother's always saying, I'll do this. Don't worry. Don't listen to him. You know what I'm saying? You know what's best. And then when you come back home, you just now you become even more like, what the fuck just happened? You left. And now you gotta, you know what I mean? You lost time.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
If a person, let us say in the black community, tries to basically create a business, get more money, get a better lifestyle, provide for the next generation. In my culture, is It's a power I wield. Basically, it's the hotels, the land I have, the plantations.
JT, who are you?
I'm a
J-
subscriber, BGS,
Okay.
and I just
All right.
decided, yeah,
Okay, just making sure you're not a troll. That's all.
Okay,
All right.
no
okay.
problem.
Go ahead.
So it's a power I accumulated. It's not something I did individually. It's actually 3 generations deep. It goes 3 generations deep, and there's over 100 members who collectively put something together to build the structure we have now, the money we have now, the lifestyle we have now. Is there something like that possible in the black community? And that is a majority because we few there's also families who has the same structure.
No,
Okay, I'm gonna
I would
explain this.
say no.
I'm gonna explain this to you in the broadest way. Hell to the fuck no.
Like, okay, so the first generation of that happening was destroyed within this particular part where you talk where we're talking about the gynocracy so much because they controlled so much at that point. Let's say, for instance, the women who were so in control of the family reunions, how things worked, all that type of stuff. A majority of them died off in the last 10 years, and now we're left with the ones who were under them, and none of them wanted to take the mantle. None of them wanted to take control. They all wanted to be a part of their own family, or they were educated or did not see it as a privilege to be able to do that thing of keeping the family together. The men were pretty much subjugated in a lot of cases. Like I keep thinking about it over and over again since I've been a part of the manosphere, where I kept understanding that none of the men in my family are the rulers.
Mm-hmm. It's gynocracy.
All of
Yeah.
them are subjugated to the women. Like I just had a grandmother die a couple of a month 2 months ago, and my grandfather, it's like they forgot about the house now. It's like they forgot that that house is there to go visit, and now he got cancer, and nobody's making a big deal about him having cancer as much as they made it about her. And it's real interest, like and this is my point of view. I haven't like expressed it to the family because I already know what it's going to be like, but it's real weird that the patriarch, the one who kept that house the way it was, the one who kept like that place right there, is the only one of the only houses, because that's one of the things that used to keep the black family together, was having a place to go back to. That's one of,
What do you think? Big
What
Mama
is
gets the house.
what is your relationship to your grandfather?
I'm a stepchild. Um, yeah, I'm gonna put it like this. I'm a stepchild. So my outward situation to a majority of this is, um, I have no real connection to those people. Once I joined the military, I went about my world,
So
and
you don't have any connection to this grandfather.
I have no connection to nobody. Like I said, I'm a lone wolf. I am the prodigal
So
son in a way.
who is responsible to who should be? Let me ask you this question: what man anywhere should be responsible to this grandfather?
The eldest son.
And he is what? What's his
He's
status?
doing very well. His status is he got his family together. He got his
So,
home
so
together. He
he
has his
so he
degrees.
has discounted his responsibility to this grandfather.
Oh no, the boys are doing what they're supposed to do. But the thing about it is the attention that was given in comparison to the attention that was given to the mother is totally different.
But
To the
they
grandmother.
are attending to their grandfather.
Oh
Is
yeah.
that what you're saying? Okay. Well,
Yes.
I mean, then that's what. Look, we're never in the black community, in the black family. We're never going to be Big Mom. In case y'all don't know,
Hmm.
you know, we're never going to be in that position. This is a matriarchal, gynocratic environment. I think I'm just happy, based on what you're saying, that there's some men, some younger, presumably capable men, who are looking out for that brother.
Hmm.
That, in my view, is the optimal scenario, frankly.
But
But we're never going to be Big Mom.
it's not.
Should
Oh,
that not be the majority of all families? That we
No.
take care of all the elders? Because where I come from,
No.
that's why we have multiple generations in the
No,
family because they take care of all the members.
let me
no,
explain
that
how
got
black
destroyed.
community is.
Yeah.
Let me explain how the black community is. It's all for one and one fuck you all. And that's the mentality they have. You can have the guy who came out of World War II, went to the steel mill for 30 years, put all his children to college. Wife really didn't have to work except a couple of days a week. That man dies. Everybody praises Big Mama for being so strong and resilient, but won't say shit. But they'll actually talk shit, and I mean cash shit, about the man who got them into college. They'll talk shit about the man who put a roof over their head. They'll talk shit about the man who had to defend the family against whatever insert racist group here. There is no reverent respect for men in Black America.
No, and that's the gynocracy, the modern gynocracy. Because to be fair, Charles, in prior generations, Papa would at the very least be a very nice portrait over the fireplace or whatever, and you wouldn't talk shit about Papa.
Definitely.
You get fucking slapped in your fucking mouth if you talk bad about Papa in a prior, better world. That what you're talking about, Charles, that's some new shit.
Oh yeah, that's the new shit. Like how the fuck can B. Simone talk about Dr. King?
Yes.
Oh, grandma. Do that in front of her grandmother.
Big Mama would have knocked B. Simone flat on her ass.
That's what I was saying. All the ones that were the guardians of that particular situation, let's say the matriarchs that actually held right positions, who knew what was right from wrong, who was teaching the stay away from that hot little girl over there. You don't need to deal with her. All of them died off within the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, there was a proper matriarchy. Yeah.
And but now that the new ones took over, it's like it was all the hot girls.
And
all the ones that they say stay away from, those are the ones who took over.
Those are the grandmamas now.
Yeah, you gotta say you're 34 years old and a grandmother. What the fuck can you teach that grandbaby? You still trying to compete with men with your daughter. And now you see the hypocrisy when it's like, we don't have enough men. No, the men just don't want you.
I literally just went through that as well. I met a hairstylist. I went to the hairstylist's shop to go pick her up. She twisted my hair up, and her mother finished it off. Her mother was sitting there rubbing herself against me, doing all this stuff that I was like, yo, like what's going on? And I realized, oh, you competing with your daughter? Now, no, I do sit in between both the age groups, but it was weird that right in front of her daughter, like she was doing this stuff. Like it was only 2 chairs away, and they own the shop.
Yeah, but brother, you gotta realize, man, that's the new norm. Like I remember 2 nights ago, I sent a picture of the art. You got chicks on social media that are pregnant on their 3rd, 4th child, asking unknown men or strangers to donate to their new baby, and the men I'm like, where's the father? Like this shit is so out of control. There's no, I mean, there's no, to me, it's worthless of trying to bring it back. You gotta let them just die off and just create a whole new generation of, if you have daughters, just reprogram them and get to
good luck. Good
but
luck.
Who are you creating them from, bro? Who are you creating them from?
We need another prophecy from BGS, because the last one was good until they stopped it.
What was my last prophecy? I can't remember.
That act of God that was supposed to happen, and then COVID came.
Oh, okay. That's true. Okay. It sure did come. JT.
It was like 5 years in advance, and then all of a sudden it hit.
It hit, yeah. Like, yeah. Here it is. Yeah, I told you. Here it comes. It's still here though. It hasn't stopped. It's going to get worse this year. But you already know that, like Bear. Probably knows that too.
Oh,
it's going to be bad this year.
Especially the food shortage, if it really affects us in any way.
You know what? I don't think the food shortage will be as bad because number one, Biden took off the sanctions for fertilizer, and then Russian wheat had a bumper crop, so I don't think food will be that big a deal this year.
It's not the Russian wheat that we fully having a problem with too. We're having problems in our own area. Florida's having problems with their production, as well
Mhm.
as the upper West Coast is having problems with their production as well.
Yeah, yeah, but
They
it won't
stopped
be as
talking about it almost immediately as they put it in the news.
it won't be as severe as it would have been if the wheat that was in the Ukraine and Soviet Union had gotten stalled. That'd have
BJ,
been a disaster.
so
Go
BJ,
ahead.
so what do you think is going to be the major hurdle, um, outside of obviously you saying this food shortage? You think it's energy prices is going to be one?
Energy. Okay, okay. In this order, right? Energy prices, food inflation because of transportation and energy prices, homelessness because of rents and Wall Street buying up all the houses. Okay, uh, eventually there's going to be a job downturn, right? As the economy declines, as far as and inflation hits at the same time, won't be able to hire people, right? They're going to have layoffs. Okay, so that's going to hit either summer or fall, right? That's going to be the issues. Okay, the homelessness and the inflation is going to be bad this summer. Okay, yeah.
So
Go ahead.
can we say a lot of the independent group is going to be out here making phone calls? Is that,
What do you mean independent group?
Hey, big head.
females,
Oh,
females. Gonna be
you know
down.
what? And I said this on my last night's stream, right? I was coming from the pizza joint, right? I saw 5 black homeless women against the fence, man, drinking
Wow.
soda. Okay, 5 of them sitting out there by themselves. That's how, and a 6th one across the street trying to join them.
Remember,
This was going to happen.
remember when they said by 2025 we'll have electric cars fully in effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2022, almost
Mm-hmm.
2023.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't see, I mean, I'm sorry. This is probably just me being harebrained, tinfoil hat type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
But if the price of oil is up the way it's up, and it's up for this reason, we're not using our own resources in a way. They're going to keep it up, and then as they drive it up, it's going to push and force people to move towards electric cars and everything like that.
But thing is the oil or the gasoline prices. We think about cars. Okay, cars is just a small percentage of the inflation price. It's the trucks that actually
That's
move goods. Okay,
that's what I'm leading to.
even at that, you can't get around that.
Hmm.
Electricity is produced by what? For the most part,
Right now, it's just it's
gas and oil.
coal.
Oil.
It's
Yeah,
coal,
gas,
oil,
gas
and
and oil. Yeah.
yeah,
So you
and
just
hydro.
you just transferring the price to something else, right? That's what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
because all we can tell you all these energy prices rise together.
But
They're not
Mm-hmm.
that's
separate.
when it comes to the trucks, though, they already have fleets in waiting that are
You
all electric.
you have electric ships that bring the stuff to you
Mm-hmm.
from
Hmm.
abroad.
They have
Do you
electric ships.
where
You have the
where
trucks.
where
Pretty
you
much,
don't
they can all be controlled through
okay if
GPS.
if you put them on the street right now, how many do you have?
You talk about the ships, right?
I'm talking about all of it,
Talking about
just
the
trucks.
trucks. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
percentage? What percentage?
Well,
They're,
this is the thing. When it comes to the
they're
trucks right
not
I,
now,
I,
it's
they're not
because
enough.
I,
They're not
I,
enough to impact the actual cost
it won't.
structure.
It won't. It won't. It
Yeah.
won't.
Not
We talk
enough.
about we talk about electric trucks. Talk about 5%.
Mm-hmm.
it's only because of right now the way we have things in the system right now.
Yeah,
That drive and the
Yeah,
push that they're
but if
doing
you're
at this
talking
at this
about
very moment.
inflation, if you're talking about inflation right now, and only about 5 or 10% of the potential trucking stock is electric, you're not going to materially
no, you're not.
influence the pricing. It's just
That's
not going to
because
happen.
they can't do it outright. If you do it
Okay.
up front, other
Oh,
people are going to see it
let,
and they're
let,
going to
let,
protest to it.
let me ask you this, okay? Let me ask you this. Okay, you're analytical, right? To get there, right? One, you don't have enough batteries to actually get all these trucks on the road, right? You don't have enough batteries, right? Have the infrastructure actually electrify all these trucks. Okay, how long will that take? Starting from
Hold
scratch
on
right
now. You're not talking about how many facilities over the road can
now. Yes,
adequately supply the electrical refuelment of those
yes.
vehicles.
No, that'll be
And you're
easy
talking about changing the
Easy?
infrastructure
How?
because it's
of fuel. You're talking about changing the energy infrastructure of literally thousands, maybe tens of thousands
Hundreds of thousands.
the
of fueling
structure.
systems throughout the country.
The structure is already thought about and put into effect.
It's
The thing, I
no,
mean,
it's
not
No,
not.
it's
put
not.
into. I mean,
No,
is
it's not.
already planned.
There's no
Hold on,
way.
hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Because you're talking over me. Hold on.
Bruh,
Hold on.
most
Let him
of
finish.
Yeah.
No,
The
no,
moment.
let Uber finish, and then you like beer
Mhm.
because
I'm
because
saying
it's bullshit right now.
most of the fueling systems cannot even afford, much less make the investment and the retooling of the systems in order to be able to provide that industry. Over the road, over the system, they
Wait,
don't
hold on. Hold on.
exist.
Wait, wait,
And
wait, wait, wait,
currently,
wait, wait.
right now, they don't exist
What are
in
you
the current
saying it needs to be
infrastructure.
like? What are you saying is missing?
The,
Because like
in
you
other
saying
words,
refueling, and I'm talking
I'm
about battery
saying
changes.
okay, electrification stations. How many are there
yes.
right now?
How many are out well, it depends. Like if you're talking about for just the regular for the regular cars, that's different. When it
Trucks.
comes to
Yeah.
the trucks, all the stations that are already there, they're already mapped out. So all it doesn't take long to
How
just
many are
it doesn't
there?
is none right now because they're not needed
Right.
in America. But
Okay.
there's
But
already examples.
how
Hold
There's
quickly
already
can you
examples
retool?
of
on a second. How long will that take?
it won't take long because
No,
it's not hard to
no,
retrofit.
Come
no.
on.
Hold on a second. Light bearer.
Hmm.
How long will that take? Give me a number.
So when it comes down to the situation of retrofitting any of these stops, right? For when it comes to the trucks, for instance, when it comes down to retrofitting them for the stops, it won't take less than a year to be able to hit like certain
Bullshit. Bullshit.
the major
Bullshit.
the
Bullshit.
major highways
Bullshit.
going
Bro,
from
bro,
so from
Bullshit.
66 and going
bro,
90 and going
you have
73.
the logistics alone of we're not even talking about the cost, which will be
Enormous.
significant,
Yeah.
but just the logistic of
Retrofitting.
retrofitting the
Yeah.
facilities
Yes.
associated with these. This
You
is a
already got
monumental
you already
task.
got the situation of the waste stations already
You're
there. All you
talking
got to
about
do is just dig the hole.
you're talking about
Yeah, but brother,
tens. You're talking about tens, if not potentially hundreds of
but
billions of
It's
dollars.
something
Minimum.
that they're pushing towards anyway, so it's going to happen.
Like Barry, we're in LA. How long did it take to actually retrofit all this shit?
Wait, no, see, already, it's already a situation of you got the red tape and all that type of stuff for LA. They retarded,
Exactly.
so
but the rest of the country isn't that retarded.
Yes,
yeah,
it is. Yes,
But
it is.
the red tape is a function, brother. The red tape is a function of the cost. It's also a function of the logistics
Not
of the
for LA.
brother. Let
like
Not
me
for
finish.
LA. I
The,
like
know
that.
what you're saying, but you're not.
Like
It's not the same
bruh,
when it
bruh,
comes to the rest of the country.
You
the
can't.
traffic in the current paradigm in Los Angeles is shit, right?
Yeah.
The worst possible driving fucking traffic system in the country is Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about potentially changing thousands of
Who have
facilities
a bunch
in
of
that
electrical
area
situation.
alone.
Ooh, you know when
like
they started working on this retrofit for Los Angeles? Obama.
Yeah,
For about
it's easily a
2009,
bomb.
right?
But when did
Yeah,
they start? When
easily
did
a
they
bomb.
start putting all the
13,
stations out? They started.
13 years ago.
but
They
like
started.
that.
But
Yeah,
they didn't
Like
put the stations out until the last 3 to 5 years.
but like that. Look, can
They-
I just
Go ahead, James.
Go ahead.
like that? You have to understand. Like, there's a reason why we have red tape. Because at the end of the day, if we just bogarted everything the way you make it seem, you would have to actually do so much infrastructural changes that some of it won't even make sense. Because even if you ran into some of these interstates and some of these towns or some of these parts of the country, some of it might not be suitable
It's not
geographically
for
and
the
logistically.
Yeah, it's not for the rest of
yeah.
the country. It's not. It's mainly
Okay.
for the main.
But
So
you're
That
talking
doesn't
wait,
make
wait,
any
wait,
you're
wait, wait.
talking about
Oral, stop, man. You
no
keep
like
Hold
that.
on.
as I
That
go.
like that. That wouldn't even make any sense because the United States has to operate as a whole. You
How many
can't
Yes,
just
miles?
but
uh,
it's the weight. For instance, the
some of
blood
Hold on,
of the
hold on,
United
hold on,
States is the truck
hold
system.
on, hold on. They don't even have it for cars yet. Trucks
They
is
do.
almost impossible.
They
Okay.
do.
What?
It's slowly getting there for cars because they
How
don't.
many
You know
years is
how
that
we
going to
do.
take? Like beer. How many years is that going to take, man? You know,
It's not
1 year.
going to when it
like that.
comes to the first part of it because they're trying to force it for 2025. There's been an initiative all the way since
But
Obama.
like
Since
that.
How
Obama.
how many?
I mean,
Let me have this for a second, if you guys don't mind, right?
Mhm.
H- How many stations do they have planned right now?
I don't have that number right now. But I can actually go look it up because it's
In other
actually out there.
in other words, you got how many trucks do you have on the road right now that are gas?
You know what? I don't know.
You
The
got
only part I was paying attention to was the initiative for the
Hundreds
electric.
of thousands.
you got
BGS,
200 you got
we have not
200,000
even
trucks
mentioned
over
the
the road trucks.
we've not even mentioned the political infrastructure for which the fucking
Yeah,
oil
That's what I was talking
industry,
about in the first place.
the fucking oil industry dominates Congress. How are you going to usurp that within a year? How are
Well,
you going to do that?
like
It's
How are you going
already
to
happening.
compel? How
No,
are
it's
you going to
not.
compel?
It
How are you
is.
going to
No, it's
compel the
not.
oil industry to retrofit tens of thousands of fucking fueling systems
Well,
throughout the damn country
in
to,
other
to,
words,
to accommodate trucking systems
in other words, that's the
within a
reason.
year?
In other words, that's the reason you can't go. It's hard to go cross country in an
yeah,
electric car from one side of the country to the other. Right? Not enough refueling stations. You talk about 200,000 trucks and millions of miles. How you gonna do that
That's the
in a
But
reason
year?
why Elon was. That's the
I
reason
have a
why Elon.
neighbor.
Hold on one
God.
second. One
I,
second. Ooh, stop for a second, okay?
can I go after him?
I just,
Go ahead, Liberia.
That's why
How you gonna do that in
Elon.
a year?
That's why Elon was pushing towards making the batteries last over 250
Are
miles.
they
yeah,
are they there yet?
Yes,
When?
okay,
Where?
they've been there since let's say last year or the year before.
Prove it.
like,
Prove it.
like,
what's
All right.
the
With
power
the
requirement?
M. Hmm?
What's the power requirement of a battery that's got to carry fucking 60, 70,000 pounds of material in a
Where's
single fucking vehicle?
If
where's
you
where's
paid attention to the whole Tesla situation right
where's the test
now,
case?
the
Where's the
the
test
Mach,
case? Where's the test case?
Yeah.
we've been testing it out here.
No, where in
Where's
the
the
literature?
case?
No, where's the
Where's the
literature
case
of the test
study
case?
where there are tens of thousands of
No,
fucking
I just
vehicles
I
that
want one. Where's the first one? Where's it at?
So all you gotta pretty much do when it comes down to people that's
What
trying to
what's
prove it,
what's the name?
we gonna have to
What's the
pull up the
name of it?
Tesla. Go
What's
ahead.
the name of it? What's the name of the truck?
No,
Where
no,
the
no.
test
Well,
case?
you say the truck. When it came down to 250 miles, it's the whole Tesla build. But now, when it comes to the trucks, there are 3 trucks out in Germany right now who are
What's the name of them?
proven. I'm gonna have to type it up. Hold on.
Go find it.
Don't
Yeah,
don't
I'll
bring
get it
up
right now.
this is
Germany.
kind of ridiculous.
I'll get
Hold
it
on,
right
hold
now.
on,
This
hold
is
on,
getting
hold on.
kind of.
Don't bring up
I mean,
Germany.
we got to go to
like,
Germany. This guy, hold on, this guy's talking about retrofitting the whole goddamn country for traffic mileage of millions of miles, and we're talking about a fucking test case in Germany. Come on,
Actually, you're
man.
just talking to hear
This
yourself
is a
talk at this
ridiculous
point because if you
conversation.
know
Hey,
about,
This
hold
is
on,
a
let Snake Man
ridiculous
talk
Hey,
because that don't make
whoa.
no sense what you just said.
Light
Hold
Bearer,
on,
go find
hold on,
it. Go
I'm
find
going
it.
to
hold on.
find it right now.
Go
Snake,
find
y'all
it.
mind
Light
if I jump
bearer,
in here real
now,
quick?
So we're gonna retrofit.
Hold on, Snake Man, go ahead.
it is true what Light bearer says that we have electric. You call how do you call it trucks? We call it
Yeah,
LKWs.
yeah.
Because but the problem is Light bearer they don't even come close to the one that run on fuel. And this one you talking about is in Germany in a specific region, not all of Germany. The infrastructure is not there, and it will be not there for the next 10 years. Because the problem isn't that what I'm confused about is okay. Let's what confused about it is the infrastructure for transport. Is it in state hand or in private hand?
In America or over there? Which one?
No, in America. We're talking about America.
in general.
Okay. So right now it's a combination because you got the companies owning the actual state property. So right now, like for instance, I got a situation where I know of someone personally that they have a trucking company, but the main thing that and this was this was quite a few years ago. He bought at least 10 to 12 trucks and had them sitting and waiting for when it was time to be able to release his electrical vehicles, but he wasn't letting anybody else know that actually works directly for him.
Okay, as the majority is owned in state hand, basically it's a state pays the state maintain it, or are they in private hand?
No, most of the shores and stuff like that, they're owned. Shoot, one of our main ones is owned by China.
Give me a percentage.
I can't give you a percentage like that. It's just I know that the main coastal ports in and out when it comes down to the American ports on the East Coast is owned by mostly corporations, and by the West Coast is owned by Chinese
So
government.
most basically most of your infrastructure, that's not even ports for transporting or transport infrastructure
Yeah.
is owned in private hand. The problem I see is if you have an infrastructure change, it will cost a lot of money because when it's in private hand, people want privileges, want concessions from the state. Basically, they want the change be paid by the state. Because if it would be in America, the infrastructure for transporting would be owned by the state, then I would can see that they would can change it in 1 year because they would say we have a mandate. The mandate is enforced because we have the monopoly on the transporting business. We tax the people, and then we demand that construction companies will build the things we demand. But that's why China can do it fast, and mostly like in Germany or in other capitalist liberal country, it takes a long time. Because you must convince the private owners that the change will not punch a hole in their pocket.
That's the reason why a majority of them, like the friend that I have, is actually going for the electric trucks because it actually gives them even more of a income after they start
Yeah,
putting them into effect.
but
It,
but
it,
like
but
but like Barry, I'm sorry. Go ahead, BGS. I'll go
that's
I'm
after.
fine.
I meant
listening.
to jump in here
Okay.
whenever I can get a chance.
Okay. Okay. Right after this. Okay. The thing is right after
And I
James.
found them also. Oh, I
But
found a few of them,
300,
but not the
310
one I was looking
horsepower,
for.
you're not going to be able to replace the over the road trucks with these things. Not
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 with low
not.
width. Yeah. Not
And
not
that is a
again.
second thing. Do you know how much car manufacturers actually
Okay,
make money exporting
so
their trucks into
one
other
moment.
countries?
So
Go ahead, Meech.
so
Nikola Motors, the
there's a couple
already
of different
delivered
things that have
trucks.
to be.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go
There's
ahead,
a couple
Meech.
of different things that have to take into consideration here. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of things to be considered here, right? So I've been driving a little over 4 years now. You're not going to replace this with batteries anytime soon. Not that they're not working on it, and they are working on it. I saw a couple of years back where they're working on it, but it's going to take a very long time before they actually get it here. It's a couple of different things. First of all, when you're talking about your recharging stations, these trucks get here, and we're at these pumps a long time. When we get in there, we got to get in there and get out. Now, it only
Hmm.
takes you, if you're pumping fuel into some tanks, it's only going to take you a total of maybe 5 minutes if the pump is slow. You're not going to recharge your battery in 5 minutes. There's forecasts
No,
based on
they
this
don't. They
too.
don't use.
There's
They don't.
there's
For the
forecasts based.
batteries, they just replacing them. So, for instance, when they
Well,
did
here's
the
the thing
whole
though, but you're
Let him
not going
finish.
to just drive up to every. You're not going to just drive up to every truck stop and then get a battery swapped out.
yes,
That's a whole different thing about facilities right there too. Secondly,
that's the
this is a
whole.
truck. It's not a car. This is a truck. It's a lot more work to this than it's going to be to a Tesla.
This is incredible. So you're gonna travel the whole goddamn country replacing batteries everywhere you go? This is
Here you go.
crazy.
Let me tell you.
I'll put it like this. I'll
One,
put it
one
like
time, one
this.
time, one time.
Hold
It'll
on.
be. This will be my. This will be my
Let him
Let me finish what I
position.
was trying to
Hold
say.
on.
One
Let
Let
me
at a
him
finish
finish.
time.
what
One
I'm
at a
saying.
time. One at a
I'll
time,
leave
young.
it at that.
No, one at a
Let me
time.
finish what there's two
Go ahead,
things I want
Meech.
to get across.
Okay.
Okay, so it's battery capacity, right? And then it's the battery not fading because batteries tend to discharge over time. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Not to
Hmm.
mention your truck. Okay, so we all know when it comes to electronics, if you push them basically the same, if you're putting basically the same load on them, the battery life will last about basically the same amount of time, right? But the thing in trucking is that the load always changes because you can be going uphill, it could be windy, whatever it is that's going on, it could be stop and go traffic. All of that is going to fade your battery at different rates. You can't even really plan. This truck right here, I get about 900 miles to a full tank. You can't plan with a battery. You don't know how long it's going to be because the moment you're in stop and go traffic, like I am in right now, it changes it greatly.
It changes it, yes, but you could that calculation can actually be done, and
You
even
can't
down to the
calculate the traffic across the country.
even down to like fuel calculation that could be
But
done.
I got one.
Like this is part of something that
Let him finish, and then well, go ahead, let Barry finish, and then you, James.
Okay.
So by 20, so for instance, when I was saying like delivery of these trucks is already out there, Volvo already delivered in 2022. There's
How
another
many?
company called
Many.
To which country?
hold on, you said how many?
How many?
Okay, in this report it doesn't say the amount. 63,
You got 200. You got 250,000
186, 186,000 new.
Answer, what's his name? In which country?
186,000
No,
trucks
which country
delivered.
is
Yes.
important?
Delivered
Country
where?
is
In the
Yes.
important.
United States.
Yes, in the United States.
Where in the United
186,000.
States?
2002. No, sorry. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure.
2002.
Yeah,
What?
as early as 2002. So they started already
Oh, come
delivering
on, man. This is
186,000
kind of
new
ridiculous now.
186,000 new trucks.
Electric trucks.
Electric.
Yes,
In
that was
2002.
electric.
Oh no. Oh no.
Did he
Yes.
say 2002, not
Yeah. Oh no.
222?
Brother,
The
when
two.
people thought they were gonna die, when people were gonna
Then the other
pull
one, the other one that actually the
Pull
other
that
one
up.
that actually pulls up the let's see, where is it? There's another one that goes from 300 to 700 miles, and that's off of hydrogen, and we got plenty of hydrogen stations.
That's not electric though. What I'm saying, they delivered 186,000 electric trucks to the United States.
In
In
2002.
within the United States, inside of the United States, they were already delivered.
How many
186,000.
electric
And
trucks?
this was 2002.
I don't know
And this
about
was
that.
just with the and this was like postal service,
what?
Those
UPS, and you.
we talking about over the road trucks.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but
No,
what I'm
no,
saying is,
no,
Log
come on, man.
trucks.
No,
So-
not the postal
so
trucks.
delivery. So it says delivery vans, buses,
Delivery
and
vans.
custom order trucks, and then. Oh shit! I'm gonna have to go. I gotta go
we-
to a
we talk about
to a lab.
Where they can fuel for a day or two at a particular kind of
No,
thing,
he's
yeah.
talking about light. He's talking about light trucks. You're not talking about over the road trucks.
So workhorse trucks, Cincinnati electric trucks, startup. Hold on,
Man,
let me
you
find
talking
out.
about box trucks,
Ryder.
brother? You ain't talking about
So is Ryder trucks. It's also short range delivery trucks as well as electric
Short range
pickup
delivery.
trucks.
Talking about freight trucks.
we
That's what
talking about
we're
freight,
Mhm.
brother.
Now I get what you're saying. I also said that. I also
Talking
said
about box
that
trucks.
the freight truck.
Talking about box trucks. You ain't
I
talking about
What the
also
fuck? What are
said
we talking
that
about?
Class 8 trucks or over the road trucks were also delivered as well. I said
How
that.
many? How many?
That must be added into the number of the 186,000.
In
I
other
mean,
words,
yeah.
In
yeah.
2002.
All right.
So
Are
now
you not
with
talking about
Nikola,
Go ahead,
Okay.
Jay.
here
Go
go
ahead,
look
Jay.
with
Go ahead, Jay.
with Nikola Motors, right? They're Arizona based. They're delivering 700. Okay, that's
hold on. You talking
that's
about
hydrogen trucks.
Hold on. You talking about Nikola Motors that actually filed for bankruptcy?
They already delivered though in 2021.
Hold on, brother.
They already delivered.
I know exactly. You talking about the guy that was trying to compete with Elon Musk that made the Ponzi scheme, the one that everybody bought in, and next come to find they didn't have his reports when they looked at the balance sheet, and they're like, wait a minute, this shit don't even exist. Matter of fact, there's not a factory in Arizona.
Here,
I
go
have
look.
friends in Arizona.
So this is from Freight, and this particular report is coming from Freight Waves, and it was written in March 2022.
Brother, hold on. The fake Elon Musk does not exist. Do not believe that nonsense with the Nikola Motors. That company is a bust. It's a facade. That is one of the reasons why Wall Street and a lot of people pulled out when they actually started looking into the books. There's no way that is even possible.
Look, the technology and the infrastructure does not exist for that. It just don't.
The infrastructure doesn't exist. The technology is there.
Blackbeard, let me say this. Do you think the oil and gas companies are going to have put so much money? They are probably one of the strongest lobbying groups in Washington.
They're already transitioning.
Hold on.
Top three.
Yeah.
Top
you
three.
think those goons are gonna allow some ideology of just like, yeah, we just have this electric concept idea and we'd like to implement. Get the fuck out of here.
And we're going to allow the retrofitting of tens of thousands of fueling systems throughout the fucking country.
If this was a year and a half ago, a year ago or so, I would be right there with y'all. What I'm seeing right now,
brother,
what
listen.
I'm seeing, look here, go look, and it's
You can't.
anecdotal, so I understand why everybody's going against me like this.
357 miles.
Hold on,
Is that
Yeah,
all?
brother.
75-mile range with current battery price of 130. Yeah, and these are electric trucks that are out there now.
How
Brother,
much
listen.
does a truck cost?
It
Just
costs
Up
electric.
to
$280,000.
180,000.
No. Electric semi trucks will cost between $300,000 or $400,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not 180,000, brother.
What
Okay.
the?
That's not what I
Now
saw.
on that battery distance, does it reference the tonnage associated with that? Because that's
It
important.
doesn't matter because the electric
It does.
No, it
vehicles
definitely matters.
are way
It definitely
stronger in
fucking
handling.
matters because it
The
definitely takes more
the
energy
Electric
heaviest.
to pull
vehicles.
10 tons than it
God.
does fucking 60 tons. So
Oh,
All
come
right,
on.
so the dude
I'm
that
I'm
worked
I'm
on
I'm 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 I'm, I'm,
helicopters,
Hold
worked
on,
on trucks,
guys.
and
Hold
the
on.
guy,
Let
guy that
BGS
worked on
talk.
I'm looking right at it. Class A electric truck, the heaviest long haul trucks weighing more than 33,000 pounds. Traveling range of 500 miles a day would cost 13. This is the current stuff right now, right? It's coming from Berkeley Research Laboratory. Okay, 2021. Okay, so
the
unless
last
Is that
report
a
I was reading
is
was
that a
2022.
hybrid? Is that a hybrid or was that a
no,
pure
no,
electric?
it's a pure electric.
Okay.
The
The
charging station
push,
is hybrid.
the push for what's happening right now is underlying. It's very similar to the situation that happened with us for COVID. Everything got pushed up because of COVID.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just trying.
yeah, some things got pushed up, something got pushed back. The infrastructure got what? Pushed back.
The infrastructure, yes, but the technology is something that is actually like
yeah,
very much so wanted right
Yeah,
now.
but the
but like,
problem,
But
like
it's not there yet. It's not going to be. It's going to
it's
take
not gonna be
way
a
more
fall.
than 3 years. It's going to
The
take at
only
like
thing
least
Pharaoh,
that's
5.
like
slowing us
Pharaoh,
down, the only thing that's slowing us down is battery production, and that's
No, it's
like
because
not.
of
like
delivery as of right now,
Like
and that's because
we,
Pharaoh,
of
like
can I
Bill.
go
It's
to shortly?
it's
Can I
it's,
go?
it's battery production and delivery is a problem, right? Infrastructure is the other problem. It's not there, man. It's not going to be
Light
there
bit,
for a while, for a
light
long
bit,
time.
light bit.
Like,
Even if we had the technology, as B just said, we don't even have again the infrastructure to deliver this motherfucker across this country. We don't even How are we gonna have this type of technology when we haven't even updated the power grids to
Yeah.
support this? That makes no rational sense.
you don't need the power grids
Well,
to support it.
what he's saying is
You
every
don't wait,
stop
wait, wait,
we
wait, whoa, whoa,
make.
whoa, whoa,
Yes,
whoa,
you
whoa,
do.
stop. No, you don't. Because, like, for instance, when it comes down to like, I like
hold on,
certain parts, but I
Okay.
got something to say with this part in
Go
particular.
ahead.
First
to a
off, a power
separate power
wall is gonna, yeah, exactly. Each and every
a
one of the stations is
separate
gonna have
power grid.
but they're gonna have their own self-contained power grids. They're gonna take care of themselves. They're
Who
gonna
is
buffer
paying
themselves.
for that
Oh,
light
hold on a
bearer?
second. Where they at, man?
Who else is gonna pay for it but the corporations who are actually buying it?
What?
The companies who are actually buying it.
They have to build these things, man.
They're already built.
No, they're
I'm
not.
trying to
Where?
like, okay.
Where
So
where
how much does a
where
power wall cost? How much does a power wall cost? That only costs about $3,000 to $7,000 to
an,
put
indu-
in your
Right.
home
an
and to
industrial
power
power
your home
wall,
for at least.
an industrial power wall to do for 200,000 trucks.
Yes, so you combine the technology, or you just add up and stack up those particular power walls.
You
That's one, or you
those
buy
power
a particular
Where light
station.
bearer?
those power walls take what? Batteries, right? Where the batteries at?
Again, that's the only thing that's actually
Oh, the
slowed down the
only,
process.
and then you have to build these things.
They're already the stuff out there is already built. It's
Where?
already something there.
Where?
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 It's called y'all don't okay. So for instance, the power wall, that's something that is actually something that's already
Not
coined.
what?
No.
Where?
Where
Where?
are these things
I was getting to it. So it's being built in Nevada. That's the
being
first
built?
And
part.
being.
Being built.
No, the Nevada station is already like the
Well,
place to build the batteries is already there. They're already building the batteries.
Listen to me. Listen to me. For all, if we're gonna do this in a year, right, or
Hmm
3 years, right? How many do they need, and where are they? You say they're already there. Where are they?
So when it comes down to particularly, you can actually build up those stations per
They're
the
not,
place that you're
but
going
they're
to.
not. Do you see? You're saying that they're there already. Where are they?
And
They're
is that
modular. They're modular.
So
So
where?
say for instance, whatever power is
So where are they stacked at?
in Nevada.
So they're all
only in
they have.
Nevada?
So you have a whole big warehouse where all these things are stacked.
Yeah, and for instance, one of the main places is the Tesla battery facility.
So this big yard where all these power walls is just stacked up.
Where people where water we have a water drought.
I think this
No,
is
no,
the
no, no,
only
no, no.
like this is the first time that I feel like I know something that
No,
you don't.
no. The thing is, you can know something. I'm asking you specific things. Okay, you say
Hmm.
all the infrastructure is already there. It's already sitting there, just waiting to be deployed. Right? That's what you're
Hmm.
saying. That's what you're
Most
saying.
of it, most of it is ready, either waiting to be deployed, or it's a situation of it can
So,
be
so,
built
so in other wo-
towards
in other words, what you're telling me, just like with munitions and weapons and airplanes and cars, all kind of stuff, they got to be stored somewhere. Where are they storing these things?
the battery plant in Nevada.
So how many do they have?
I don't know. I didn't look
Give me
into
Do
an
they
that.
have
approximate.
hold on,
They,
do
they,
they have enough? Do they have enough to replace the entire infrastructure for fuel in America? All of it.
So I'm gonna say I don't know at this present time, and the only reason why is because already with the regulations in which how in the way in how like a lot of municipals do certain things. For instance, I got a friend who has a
Those
farm.
that don't.
hold on,
Oh,
hold on,
oh,
hold
oh, 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 oh. I got a friend who has a farm, right?
on.
And he had a whole situation that was built up all off his solar grid. It,
Okay,
it was all powered by itself, watered, all that type of stuff.
okay,
The municipals came and they kept ticketing him because he wasn't attached to the actual water grid. So he
okay,
attached his farm to the water,
okay,
right? Then they came and they saw that he wasn't using enough electricity. So now
okay,
what they did was, well, his solar panels had, since they were already stationed, they started ticketing him for that. And this was in Arizona actually. So they started
okay,
ticketing him for his power and the way that he had it connected to the whole farm. So he made the solar panels a quick disconnect, and then he put them on wheels, so that they can't say that it was a permanent fixture on his farm.
okay.
So that got him out of getting those particular tickets
But that's
and
not
the
the
quick
question we
disconnect.
asked, though.
That's
Wait,
That's
wait,
not the
wait.
question we asked.
It's leading to what you're
Peaches, why
saying.
why do you let him nigga dance?
No, 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 no. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
No, I'm not.
because
I'm
he's
not.
my boy. That's why I'm letting him do it. Go
I'm
ahead.
not. What I'm getting at is this: there are regulations that are stopping certain things from happening the way they're supposed to with the evolution of us moving towards, let's say, all electric or all these other things. Because again, the municipalities, they want their money as well. Like you said, the red tape. But the thing is, when it came down to it, his whole farm was fully powered and self-sustaining.
Okay, get to the point. Point, please.
Can you answer my question?
No, 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 no. I'm asking him. Point. Get to the point.
That was the point. It was fully powered, battery
No, okay,
powered, a
okay.
whole farm.
This is the point I'm having, right?
Mm.
If you're going to change a whole infrastructure, and the pieces are already there, they got to be stored somewhere. You can't hide anything that big. Can't hide anything that big. No
Like
way.
But
to
we
give
all
you an
know about
example.
the
No,
battery. We know about the battery
it's
facility
even that. It's
in
not big
Nevada.
enough. It's
it's
not
not
big
big
enough.
enough, brother.
It's the
Because
main.
Leper,
Mm.
to give an example, what we're talking about is like building an infrastructure in the
Entire
entire
United States.
area. Yeah, in this entire, let us say it's the entire area of the Sahara. Do you have the supply for it? Because the United States is as big as the Sahara Desert.
It's just like the same situation. Well, I'll say no at this very moment, but it's just like the same situation with the electrical vehicles. Not until everybody is going to accept it that the supply will actually be brought up.
In other words, what, like I say, you're saying that it's going to be a rapid change, and I'm saying it's
Mm.
not, especially for something like that.
Pretty
Okay,
much,
Light,
it's
yes.
not.
Lightbear,
It's not.
Lightbear, the simple fact that we already have high inflation, and that's even causing more problems in the supply chain. Not only with the disruptions, it is almost impossible to actually have this rapid change
Yeah.
because the ecosystem itself has to flow very smoothly. It can't
Why
have
is it
any.
happening? Why is it
It's not.
happening?
What do
It's
you mean?
literally happening.
It's not happening.
It's
Where's it
not.
All
happening
right,
at?
maybe I'm just seeing something that I'm just seeing
If
something.
that
You
was the
you you
case, we wouldn't
you
have a
you,
division in the
you,
world.
you're seeing something, but you're reading too much into it. Okay. Because I'm looking at the change in LA. This stuff has been our streets being wrecked and retrofitted has taken at least what 8 years. It's
Hmm.
not going to happen. It's not going to a
And
big
that's with
change.
LA.
A big change across the country is going to take like like at least 15 years to do that, man. It doesn't happen overnight.
BGS.
All right. So what if? Okay, let me ask this part, and this is a big what if, and then I might have to. No, I do have to get off. But
Okay.
um, say for instance, fuel crisis in America. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
only about America.
Mm-hmm.
They're not bringing in enough fuel. Russia's keeping back their fuel.
Okay.
And then we have a situation where China's already like, moving towards the
Okay.
Middle East and saying, hey,
Uh-huh.
we want to deal with the Middle East money. We don't want to deal with American money that much no
Mm-hmm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be a push?
It would
Would
be a
that be
push.
enough of a push to make it where?
How long will it take to start digging holes like that you need to actually retrofit this stuff?
Oh, for the battery, let's say for instance, for the battery change,
Mm-hmm.
like it's pretty much, it's not much of a station. Like they literally did a whole battery swap presentation in the middle of Nevada. They playing that drink out.
Yeah,
and
but
how big is the battery swap station?
It's not that well for the cars. They did it for the cars first. I didn't see it
For a freight truck. How big is the battery swap station?
Well, for the freight trucks, remember they got their own station, so it wouldn't be that much when you go
How
into
big,
the weigh station.
How big is the battery swap station?
We cannot tell you
I
because it
can't
doesn't
tell you
exist.
because I don't. Well, yeah, well that part too, but I can't tell you because I don't know. Now, when it comes down to the the measurements,
do you know how much those batteries weigh each?
Please don't tell me 10 pounds.
No.
A little bit more.
No, it was no reason for me to know it until right now that I've been asked it.
For the bus trucks here, right? It takes a special a special station to actually lift these things out and put them back in. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't. That's very high tech, and it's very expensive to do that. It's not cheap. I can tell you that because my brother works for MTA, right? Where they have to change out they have these buses already with these batteries in it that are electric, right? Okay?
You're proving my point.
Hold on. No, you're not. I'm not proving your point.
No.
These batteries are very heavy
and
very dangerous, right? It takes a special special facility to actually do this. They're not cheap and they're very expensive.
BJS, can I ask
and
you
hard to build. Okay,
BJS,
that's what I'm telling you.
BJS, can I ask you a question in regards to this whole infrastructure?
Mm-hmm.
In California, when they proposed that bullet train, right? How much did the cost run up?
Oh, Jesus, they haven't even put it in. But the thing is, it went from, I think,
Palmdale to Vegas.
No, it was actually going from Orange. It was actually going from Orange County to Vegas. But the bullet train was proposed initially in the late '80s as, I think, say like 15 billion, and now it's like hundreds of billions now.
Okay,
and still
wait. Oh, you said bullet train. I was thinking about the tunnel. Okay,
no,
I'm sorry.
No, bullet train.
Right?
Tunnel is in my stupid.
So think about
they would never build a bullet train from Pasadena to even downtown, man, with all the stuff in between. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah. So BJS, just like you said, the initial cost was 15 billion, and then when they reassessed everything, it came out to something outrageous, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to point out to Lightbeard when it comes to America. This concept that it's there, it's all we're gonna have. No, when they actually probably crunch those numbers, let's say they really crunch those numbers, they say, "Oh no, this ain't gonna happen today."
Yeah, and that is the problem that we're not disagreeing that things exist. We are disagreeing with your hypothesis that it will all be changing in 1 year.
Because 3 years.
In 3 years, because we are arguing, because when you listen to our argument part, we're asking, okay, how much does it cost? Where is the infrastructure? Because that costs money, that costs time, that costs manpower. And you only giving us vague answers. You only say it exists. Yeah, we know it exists, but how much does lay it on the wood? How much
If y'all hear
does
me,
it
I'm
cost?
dropping
How much
down
is there?
and going to the chat.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Ledbeer. Well, the thing is, I see what he's saying, but the thing is, I know how politicians and infrastructure actually works. It don't work that fast. Okay.
Hell no.
Not even close. They
Not in the U.S.
Well, that and plus, it's one thing, like he said, there was a presentation they did on a battery swap. It's one thing to do a little keynote on a battery swap, but we all know
Yeah.
what you get into the real world, and you can see that when they come and they say we have this thing that we're gonna do. And sometimes the presentation doesn't even go as planned, right? There's just look in a farm. I was gonna say this too. Power in a farm is a completely different thing. It's stationary, right? Pumping water when it's 40 degrees outside isn't any different than pumping water when it's 100 degrees outside, right? It is what it is. But when you have a truck and it's slowing down to 25 miles per hour at the most, when you're going up the hill and it's windy, or all, it changes everything. And a battery isn't even going to be as consistent as fuel tanks. Do you get what I mean? And as far as a station to swap them out, do you know how fast a station would need to be able to swap out truck batteries? Now, the batteries that come on just the Tesla sedans, those weigh a couple hundred pounds, right? Just those weigh a couple hundred pounds. On a truck, it's going to weigh a couple thousand pounds. I don't see how it would be less than 1,000 to maybe 1,500 pounds if you're going to power something that's pushing 80,000 pounds.
Means we would need to be in Terminator 4, right? And have all the robots.
We would.
Do you know what the problem is? Where's also the infrastructure to maintain the infrastructure?
That's a very valid point.
We're not. It won't even happen in the next 10 years. It's just too much required. I mean, I drive all around this country. I very rarely even see stations just like Tesla stations just require these electric cars.
No.
I rarely see that. There's percentage-wise, very few. Not even 1%, I would say.
And I would say
not even 1%.
Well, those Tesla batteries are almost 20,000 or some crazy amount just to swap them?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, Lightbearer. Sometimes when German comes out, we don't do that shit of we hope and we calculate. No. If you have an
Germans
idea,
are very blunt about
lay it on the wood.
Yeah.
Show us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that simple. Okay, we're just gonna pop them up. They're modular. Okay, where are they? Where the units at? Well, I can't tell you. How many are there? How many do you need?
But and also BGS for him to say it's in Nevada, I'm like, okay. And the other he brought up Nikola Tesla, right? The wannabe Elon Musk.
Yeah.
That company went so bust, man. There was so many people who bit that bullet. He did exactly what Mish said. He did the presentation, hook, line, and sinker, and then when people started looking, they're like, "Where's the factory?"
Yeah,
and it doesn't even exist.
It doesn't exist. Yeah.
So for him to even say that, oh, these things are going to be incorporated, it's just baffling to me, because if that was the case, I would say Europe would be one of the very first ones to strongly implement it if they could.
China would have done it.
Yes,
because they have the will and the government actually push that kind of stuff through.
I just wanted to say, in Germany, the problem is in Germany, we have a change from nuclear power to green power, and right now our infrastructure is not enough with green power. So that entire electric car shit, kick it down. We must build. We must build our electric infrastructure before we think about electric cars, because electric cars are not really a necessity; it's an option.
Well, let me ask
So that Germany does it, shit. Nah. We at least 10 to 15 years for the green energy, for the infrastructure, not for the electric cars.
I got a question for you, BGS. So I'm a big F1 fan, right? And I've attended some of these events. The amount of money I've seen that these corporations invest on these prototype, super fast cars, right? Would you say that's a fraction, like less than 1% of what we would have to do for the entire infrastructure to even incorporate electric? Would you agree? Like what we're seeing, like all these things that like these prototypes, obviously they can, the amount of money they can concentrate on these particular things, but overall they couldn't, you couldn't dish out this money on the entire country.
No. It will take years, at the very least.
Once again, United States is big as the Sahara. I want to see that shit. The infrastructure, the materials. I want to see that shit.
The thing is, this is what he's talking about. Okay, the battery change station. He said, look it up. So this is actually a car. It's not a really a freight truck, but this is what he's talking about: a battery change station. In other words, something like this. Okay, but this is in a bigger facility. Look at the facility, how big it is.
Massive.
Massive. That's what
For
it would
one,
take.
hold on, is it for one car or how many
That's
cars?
one car at a time on this one. Look at what's going on underneath.
Wow.
Okay. In other words, it will take a big facility.
And then also you would need the manpower just if something goes bust,
Yeah,
which would cost even more money.
and that's just for a car.
And that's what I mean when I ask him who's paying for all of that, because sometimes I feel I think Liberia is a neoliberal, because sometimes I feel people think money that companies always invest in new shit and never in things that actually makes money. It's like
Yeah.
like oh, a new idea. Every company on this earth will now waste burns their money on basically in tons to get that new idea.
Yeah, I mean,
It's,
I totally agree with you saying, man. I
I don't
totally
get
agree.
it. That's why I
It's
said. That's why I asked him if the infrastructure is owned by the state, because when it's owned by the state is easier because they can squeeze that shit out of the people, like in China.
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah. I mean, it just goes back to how much do oil companies spend just to find a fucking to drill in the ground. Hopefully, they tap right.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is it's just it's insanity to think that this money's going to just be be out here. Oh yeah, we got a new idea. Let's throw 100 million.
The military is funded by the state. What are you talking about? That's why I say if it's state owned, it makes sense. But when it's private owned, it makes no sense because private people do not waste money like that. It means they do when they go broke, like Nikola Tesla.
So why would these electric vehicles need to swap a battery, and how often would they need to do it?
When you run out in like a gas station,
So is it putting a new battery in there, or is it just taking it out and charging it?
it's no, it's putting another battery in and they're charging the old one, the other one they just put out.
Oh, okay, okay. So is that they just do it because it's a quicker method than charging?
It's quicker method than charging. Yeah.
But that's the. I mean, think about how many vehicles we have in the United States now,
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Well,
and
we're
then
talking about, it's quicker for freight trucks. They're actually quicker to charge them than to go through all this. But yeah,
yeah,
3 minutes. In 3 minutes, I'm already in my car again.
yeah. But he had to wait. He had to wait a whole bunch of hours in line to get to it. Okay.
yeah. Man, them cars gonna look like the Great Depression, man. Waiting for this to get charged for bread and food crumbs.
But if we
Yeah,
already, can I ask a question, Mr.
go ahead.
BTS? Do you
Hmm.
think Elon Musk is an idiot? No,
Who?
not incompetent, but an idiot.
Who's that?
Elon Musk. Elon
No, he's
Musk.
brilliant. No, he's not an idiot. He's brilliant.
Mhm.
He's like Tony Stark. But the thing is, you got to separate the guy from the show.
Yeah,
Okay, because for me, Elon Musk is just a more show body version of his father.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see your perspective, Stan, man. I mean, he's
Because
probably.
I respect his father, even he is an asshole. I don't respect Elon Musk.
But the thing of it, I think with Elon Musk, he's one of the very few that have some type of social personality that is not confined to what it used to be, right? Like, obviously those who, again, and I put it placing in categories, right? There are certain categories of men who have that a type of intelligence. They can only associate with those within their realm, right? Versus Elon, he has it, but he also has the euphemism to just be like, I can say hi to the regular person, but I know what the fuck I'm capable of doing.
Okay, but because sometimes there's a feeling if you not would be in America, where it's very easy for rich people to get richer, and he would
Mhm.
do the same shit in Africa, he would already be broke on the streets.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, I know he was talking about guy that I watched, Glendon Cameron. He was talking about lazy, how lazy American workers are, right? And my thing was like, I mean, when you really look at it compared to other countries, I mean, we work the most hours, we're more productive, we have the we have the least vacation time out of any other countries. And if American workers are so lazy, why didn't Elon Musk start that shit up in South Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Because he couldn't. Because in South Africa, there is no such thing as we give you money. You must make money to show us that we invest in you.
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as loans. What are loans, nigga? What are loans?
Yeah, they don't have the financial infrastructure in Africa. Period. You know, I mean, it's starting, but it's really at the like ground foundational level. Like I know they do have some mortgages, with crappy rates, and like they do have,
I mean, they
let's
have
say they're doing
capital.
the micro loans and the what do you call it, the peer to peer loans and stuff like that. But it's nowhere near the U.S. with like the the angel investors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I guess that's one of the big things about like America, Europe, and parts of the
The
Arab
Middle East,
world
yeah.
and stuff like that. Cause this
But
pretty much in Africa, man. Most stuff you pretty much have to pay up front, or like they'll have like payment plans at the most. Like pay for 25% of the house for this
Mm-hmm.
year, and you got another year to pay the other 25.
Basically, Elon Musk could never buy if Africa would have owned Twitter. And Elon Musk would buy it. There would not be like that thing like stocks or the stocks. No, lay it on the wood, Elon. Lay the money on the wood.
Yeah.
No.
But this is the size of a battery swap station that he's talking about. Okay.
That is massive.
That's big. It's not a little bitty cubby hole. It's big.
Is that in China or Japan?
I think this is Korea.
Oh, it's inverse.
I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but the problem is you cannot compare Korea to America.
It's not a small place. Okay.
Look at this.
Yeah.
This thing is. And what happens if this thing malfunctions?
One thing is, how long would it take to build? Look at this, man. Not a little place. Come on. He said it's just a little. You just put it up anywhere. Come on. Look at this.
That's in his mind, man. That's in his mind.
Look at this. And this is just a smaller truck. It's not a freight truck.
Mm-hmm.
Not over the road. Look how big that battery is. Look at that, man. Are you kidding me?
That would have to be.
Look at the building, man. It's not
this would have to be state and privately owned. This couldn't be no one. Yeah.
And then you talk about the U.S., man. I mean, I don't really know outside of like medical stuff.
That's how big that's the size of it.
Like
right there.
Outside of medical stuff and like military stuff, I don't really know too much stuff in the U.S. that get pushed and like rushed through the system.
That's going to take a minute to build. That you just don't pop those up and make it modular, right? I'm just asking.
And then
with
the question,
solar cells, yeah.
Like
how long did it take?
How long did it take to change the battery?
Yeah,
about 5 minutes.
But BJS, let me ask you this: even with the swapping of the batteries, how quick are these things being recharged? These batteries, if you have
I don't know. That's a good question. And this is this is privately owned. This is their fleet.
Wow.
Well, how long do you think that takes to be built? Because it doesn't look like it'll take that long. I mean, it's big, but it's not that big. Like I would think. And this only does one vehicle at a time. Because it does look it does look 3D printed or modular or something like that. Like it doesn't,
But the thing is, look at the cranes and all that kind of stuff that got to be put in.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah,
and also you got to think about the demand. The United States is a heavily demanded country, man.
And to service 200,000 trucks, we want to replace them all.
Hell no. Just the engineering alone to recreate something like that would take years. Because again, you would have to get rid of what? All the gas, all the diesel. Like, what do you do with that now?
I mean, would you get rid of it? I mean, I think it'll probably slowly phase out. I mean, even once that electric vehicle infrastructure does get online, I do think that the gas and the diesel and stuff will probably slowly phase out.
Yeah, but in 3 years,
No, 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 no.
how many?
Well,
So say how long?
I'll probably say like 30 plus years.
I would say I say about 20, but thing is, it's gonna.
BJ,
was-
let me ask you
oh,
this.
sorry.
With that being said, do you think it would make sense to have a combination of electric and the diesel, like a mixture, just as a safety mechanism?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thing is that's a hybrid.
Yeah,
It's a hybrid truck, and I think they have some of those already. That
'cause-
probably would be better as a crossover.
yeah, yeah. Just to eliminate all, you know what I mean? The gap. It just the infrastructure. This stuff is so hardwired around the world. I just don't
Mm-hmm.
see the purpose of just destroying it or just
Mm-hmm.
shutting it
Well,
off.
And
I
it,
have two questions.
and this is 2022. This is like March 1st. Okay, this is recent.
I
So
have two questions.
go ahead.
My first question is still who's paying for it, and my second question is the mines for the resources alone for the
Mhm.
batteries. Do they have the capacity to basically on a regular basis replenish for only for America replenish the batteries for broken cars and for broken trucks
Yeah.
if all the infrastructure would change to electric? That's the word. So the resources for them is the infrastructure good enough to supply it?
They you know what, they started a whole lot of engineering, but the thing is, sometimes it takes like 20 years before it actually comes to fruition. It doesn't happen
Because,
overnight.
because the problem is if you replace it, cool. We let's say God's Almighty clapped in his hand and all the infrastructure is in 3 years and everyone has electric cars and something. My biggest concern would be the supply of new materials. Is that
Wh-
enough?
There's not enough batteries. Okay, number one. Not enough solar panels. Number two. Okay. Um, you haven't even built the trucks. You haven't started to build that many trucks yet.
Because it's like saying, oh, we have we have a new car that only uses fucking, I don't know, maple syrup, and then we change our entire infrastructure to maple syrup, and since maple syrup supply is gone, what we do now?
Yep. Yep. Anyway, y'all, closing thoughts.
BJ, as I always say, thank you, man, brother. Love the intellectual conversations. Always learning, and some of you brothers, man. Whew, may God be with you, man. I just say praise.
Some of, well, I understand what he's saying. But the thing is, to actually implement this stuff in America, okay, in a liberal country like this, man,
And that's the
it's not
thing,
gonna happen.
BJ.
It's not gonna
Yeah,
happen that fast.
and the thing about like you think people in America are just gonna roll over. I mean, folks are it's even with these high gas prices, you still got
Yeah,
motherfuckers still driving trucks. Like
yeah. They have no choice. You can't. If they could have replaced it, they would start it already. They can't.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
they can't.
I mean, maybe World War IV will happen against, I don't know, South Africa and China, and then we need electric trucks.
Yeah. I mean, you see that was in Korea. Korea's much more open to it. They haven't changed over yet. Okay. Do they have a fleet here and there? Sure. They haven't changed over yet. That was 2022. You're not gonna see it in 3 years. It's not gonna happen. Can't.
And Korea has a good chance because they are a small country. Once again,
What China? Authoritarian countries like Germany, China, South Korea. They can just say we want it done. People will actually roll over and actually kind of like, okay, they want
yeah.
it done, we'll do it. America's not like that.
So the second thing in Germany, most of the infrastructure change didn't came from the private people.
Yeah,
It was all financed. It was all financed by the state, and if
yeah,
private people did it, the state paid them to do it.
yeah, yeah. The thing is, it's not going. It can't happen in 3 years. Otherwise, you would have all these little things already ready to go, already to be just deploying these things is going to take. Is going to be an enormous task. Okay, just deploying this stuff, just to actually roll this stuff out. It's going
Don't
to take
forget,
at
Hey,
least 10
Madhu.
years.
don't forget, Germany is a socialist country.
Yeah,
If
I'm in
you
the meeting
really
right now.
want to, If you really want to, we make a mandate and then people must obey it. I don't think that works in America.
Yeah.
It means they already went on the street and rebelled because of masks.
Yeah. Because I see them changing like for the grid for like the electric stuff, the electric cars and all this kind of stuff. It took just in my street alone, right? It took them 2 years has to swap this shit out for the grid to actually change. That's to power some of these things, right? Took them like 3 to 5 years. It doesn't happen overnight. This is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take at least 10 years for that to happen, and even to get a quarter of the way rolled out. Okay.
Oh, I wasn't muted. Oh, I apologize for that.
No, I had to mute you, but go ahead. Yeah.
Now I get what y'all are saying, right? I fully understand where y'all coming from. I'm starting to realize what it is. You know how y'all were saying earlier, where like some people only talk to certain people in certain aspects because they're around those particular type of people. I think what it is right now is I'm seeing a particular similar to my background. I'm seeing things because I'm actually in these things.
Yes.
So I'll say, as of right now, the way it's coming off, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing right now, there's a heavy push at the top for these particular for these technologies to be put in place.
There is a push. The thing is, practical on the ground deployment is a big difference.
I'll take that. I'll take that. What I'm seeing is one thing, but it could be a bubble that I'm in.
It is a bubble that you're in. I'm telling you, I've seen this stuff way too many times about how an idea will come out like 20 years ago. Electric cars, biotech, knee replacement through stem cells, right? That shit is like 40 years old. It's just not even fully deployed yet. That's 40 years old, 40-year-old tech. Deployment is a whole bit difference from actually being in a lab or theoretical, right? Or even a model. It takes a long time. Like self-driving trucks, right? Okay, that was they started doing that shit like testing that shit out like 10 years ago.
BGS, would you say it's no different from how like the pilot fighters, right? Where before these, they actually, build these planes that run through so many simulators, but at the end of the day, when that pilot gets in, he's like, nope. You see what I'm saying? Like, like you mentioned,
See, you say that part, and I used to work in Red Flag, so I know it. Usually, if he's a real daring pilot, he's not going to say no. He's taking it on. But
like the F-16, right? For instance, right? F-15, okay, F-15, F-16. It basically invented in the early 60s, tested in the mid 60s, wasn't deployed to the mid 70s. That's how long it took. That's how long this shit takes.
Yep.
From
but like now, I get that part, but by the time you found out about it, they've already ran so many tests that they're just now making it public.
I understand, but even after making it public, how long did it take there to reach a deployment stage?
When it became a need for it in a way, or when they can justify it.
In other words, well, things back then, back 20 years ago, okay, you didn't have the internet, okay, you have so many leaks. You got tons of leaks now. People run their mouths.
You don't even need to run your mouth.
Yeah, that's true. What I'm saying is, those are the stations, right?
They didn't stole some of my stuff.
Those are the stations. We just looked at the stuff, right? Even a station of that size, how many would you need, and where would you put them, and how long would it take to actually deploy it? How are you going to power it? Okay,
so
solar cells, hydrogen, grid. Okay, how do you work that out?
So for the next one, I'm definitely now. You gave me an aim. So now, just to fight this fight, I'm gonna come back with the stats that need to be. You know how I do.
In other words, if you say within what's your time frame?
I
deployment?
personally, I like with what we already have, right? Because so most of the stuff is modular anyway, and then once they actually start, when they know what the need is, the building is not that hard because they already have, like when it came down to the Tesla specifications, he put them out in like 2000, I think it was like 7. But all the motor industries and stuff, they already took on the task of building it, but they never pushed it. Now all of a sudden all the motor industries are pushing the cars.
I
Then
understand.
when it
I
came to the
understand.
truck,
Time frame.
so the reason why I'm saying it's actually the push is becoming greater, I think the time frame would be within, I personally think, a year. But when you add
Okay.
in all the rest of the stuff that actually the like you were saying earlier, the red tape and everything like that, it will be 2 to 3 years. But we're already at
Please,
that point
please,
where
please.
2022, 3 to 2025.
Where,
It was already
okay, where are the stations right now that exist? How many are they? Or where are they? How many exist? Tell me.
well, I will not say I know. And I said that earlier. I don't
Mhm.
know.
In other words, you should see them. They should be very,
Mhm.
very, very open and apparent, especially coming from Musk. He brags about all this shit. Where are they at?
At the present time, I would say it's, in my opinion, from seeing how we already got things going from China, it'll be very modular to build these stations, especially when it comes down to
I
the
understand. Oh, I understand all that. Time frame. If it's like a year or two, they already has to be in motion, building, putting this stuff up.
so for the major highways, I think it's a year.
But
So
even on the major highways, where are they putting? Where are they at? They should have
at
started already.
at the main stops. But no, they're not. I because I haven't been traveling to do it to
How?
see it. So I don't know.
You newsprint, tweets, articles. Where they at?
I haven't seen that except for the stuff that
I'm
I
a
haven't
real
seen it.
I'm a realist. I'm not I don't imagine shit. I'm a realist. Where they at? Time frame. A year is like that. Okay. You don't have it won't be a year, it won't be 3 years. It's gonna be like at least 5 or 6. At minimum 5 or 6. Minimum.
And that's going through like every legislation, making sure everything has been, EPA approved. Like that red tape is
Millions
Yeah.
and millions of miles in this country. How many miles of road highway do we have in this country?
So that's
Millions.
why I was saying the major highways are the ones that we have to pay attention to
How,
first. The
how
ones
many?
that
Okay, where's the first one at in the major highway? Where they at?
so
Where's it at?
66, the I-90, the south. I mean, sorry, 40. I gotta look. Yeah, I think it's the
I mean,
40, the 66, the
oh,
90, the.
the 35, the 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh,
So
okay.
those main ones that are like our life bloodline, those main ones are the ones that
The
that we're paying
five,
attention to first.
the five, all those places, right? Where are they at?
The Pacific, the like all those particular ones. I said Pacific, but you know which one I'm talking about. I think that's the
Within you talk about millions of miles and hundreds, thousands of stations. Where's they can't put them up in a year. They can't put them up in 2 years. It's going to take more time than that. They're not just flying them in and dropping them. Okay, even if the mileage, it takes time,
it's
and a year, 2 years is not enough time.
okay.
Prove me,
I live
prove me
right down
wrong.
the street from
Mm-hmm.
so you know where the Disney Center is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know the building that was being built right next to that one?
Mm-hmm. Talking about downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in downtown. How
Mm-hmm.
long did it take them to build that building?
Talking about the Disney Center.
No, it's like well, the Disney Center is nice, but it's like two high rises that are right next to that
Oh
building.
shit! Oh, I know what you shit. It took them like 5 or 6 years.
No, that went up quick.
No, it didn't.
Who didn't,
No,
bro?
it didn't. No, it didn't. You can't build a high rise that quick, man. Not in California.
I was sitting there looking at that thing every morning, and that thing went up at least within 2 years.
No, you got to dig the hole. Okay, got to dig. You got to start with the hole first, and all the other stuff that got to go underneath it before the building starts to go up. All the cement has to be layered underneath that first.
BJS,
Yes, sir.
would you even say before you even get into the building the infrastructure alone, don't you have to wait at least minimum 1 to 2 years to get the permits and everything approved?
Where are even the plans for this stuff?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Did Congress vote? Did Congress actually authorize this yet?
Yes, it was Congress and your boy that's in office right now who was
Well,
in there
Biden?
talking about by 2020, 25 we'll be having this in effect. Yeah, yeah,
We're still
it
waiting
was
on our bullet
him.
train. We're still waiting on our bullet train.
This was a government mandated situation. This wasn't from like Elon or one of them guys.
So they authorize the money. So where's the shovels at?
I'ma say I don't know. Because I'm not going to sit there and try to make up something on the spot. But
Light bearer, when you see the shovels, call me. All right.
Look, because I said this is going to be one of my predictions now. This is going to be mine. So,
okay.
and when I need to save this one. So when it actually comes in effect, I want my BGS credit.
Oh, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. You'll get it. We'll have you on to brag. Okay. We'll have you on to brag. If I'm still here, we'll have you on to brag. When the first shovel drops, I'll have you on. Show me the first shovel.
Now this is going to be a mandate. I mean, this is going to be an aim now.
First, not the completed,
gather all of,
not the completed.
Because everything that y'all asked me, I didn't have to think about it that way. I was thinking about it from a technological aspect. But now that y'all actually, I'm gonna get all that information for y'all.
Where is the first shovel? That's what I want to see. The first shovel.
Yeah, and it must be the infrastructure, at least for, let us say, the entire broad of America.
Look at the train they're building from downtown to the airport. Right? How long has that taken?
Wait, I'm sorry. When it comes to this place in particular, I can't include them in with everything else. I really can't.
Show me a place. Show me a place where they've done it within a couple of years. Any place in the United States.
Within the United States, I would say a majority of it is Vegas. Whenever things get built, but as a recent,
I'm talking about in Vegas, it takes 3 to 5 years.
Let's see.
And I've seen things go up in Vegas. It takes 3 to 5 years.
I'm trying to think of another place if I can pull anything. Florida. They just built that airport. They just built another addition onto the airport that was pretty quick.
How long it was pretty quick?
I didn't track it, but it was pretty quick for what they usually do when it comes to airport additions.
Normally it's 5 to 10 years, but the thing is, if they build it in 3 to 5, that's quick.
Let's see. Army Corps engineers built that.
And we talking about Vegas. Vegas is very aggressive in building.
I know, and it takes a while. It doesn't. The shit doesn't just pop up in 2 years. It takes 3 to 5 for anything major.
I mean, unless you want to build, a ghost city in China and it collapse in a year. You know what I'm saying?
even with ghost cities, they took 3 to 5 years to build a ghost city. And China builds it pretty rapidly. I mean, they're probably fastest.
And that's what I'm drawing from with a lot of actual aspects too. When it comes down to the building aspects now, like we do have the technology here. We're just not using it as much because nobody wants to lose their job, period. When it comes down to a majority of the technologies that can be used, the reason why we're not using it is because it could be major job loss.
It could.
And that's pretty much
that's part of the problem. The thing is, even when people want stuff, right, like a bullet train or a rail or something like that, in the United States, it's always for 5 to 10 years. I don't care where it is, something major. Like we're talking about something major. We're not talking about something small. In addition to an airport.
Somebody look up the whole the mandate for the push for the electric vehicles in America for 2025.
Okay, well, we can look it up, but the thing is, the mandate is one thing. Okay, actuality, Okay.
No, I get it. I get what y'all saying. That's why I was like, okay, I'm seeing something in the bubble, and I understand I'm seeing something in the bubble.
Yeah.
But
Like, yeah, I could definitely tell you, in Massachusetts, Governor Baker had signed that all vehicles be electric by 2030, but I don't even see how that's even possible, especially the way Massachusetts infrastructure is designed to even implement that. To be honest with you, by 2030.
30. In other words, the mandate is 35% electric vehicles by 2025.
And I mean, BJS, would you agree because of this, with COVID, supply chain issues, how's that even possible to get to
Okay.
20?
Okay. President Biden outlines a target of 50% of electric vehicle sales this year by 2030. Okay. That's by 2030 sales. Okay.
okay, so they pushed it back.
Sales. That's sales. That's not eliminating gas powered cars.
In order for it to be in a situation of sales, they would have the infrastructure, right?
They have to, yeah, they have to have the infrastructure. Also, they have to make them first.
They're engineering it already.
They are,
That's what I'm getting to.
I understand engineering and output are two different things, sir. Ask
Yeah.
Elon Musk. Don't have enough batteries. Well, that's the whole thing. Don't have enough batteries.
And for what I can say, yeah, you're right.
And this is 2030. Okay, not 2025, 2030.
It was 25. It was 25.
It was 25, but it's not anymore. I said it was 25, not anymore.
So
Infrastructure, sir. They're behind. Remember I was telling you they were behind in infrastructure?
But I
A
knew
couple
they were
years ago.
behind with the whole because what we were having. Okay, so I'll say this part. When I was searching for jobs back in what 2019, probably 2018, 19, there was a major push for more people getting work in the battery plant. There was already a shortage due to the fact of how many batteries that they were pushing because of what they thought was about to happen with um, the influx of people wanting, like, say for instance, the Tesla walls and all that type of stuff. I personally was about to buy my own Tesla wall and put it in my apartment. The $3,000 investment that will pretty much take your $300 electric bill. Well, I got a lot of computers in my house, but $300 to $400 electric bill down to $30. I mean, why not? But when it came down to it, when China started going after some of these other countries in Africa for the coltan and I think it's cobalt and coltan.
Lithium.
Yeah, and then we had the lithium problem as well. Remember back then we were talking about trying to invest in lithium before it starts to blow up because that was part of the problem. So
A mandate and actually deployment are two different things, man.
Yeah, and it's not most of the lithium in Africa owned by Chinese.
But they started taking over the plants. That was exactly what happened. They started taking over the digging areas or buying them out.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason on why we were having that problem. But I understand where y'all coming from.
Yeah,
I do.
Okay. Well, when first shovel, sir, find it for me.
I will. Now that it's on my radar, I will keep an eye to it just so I can be like, hey, remember?
Yeah. I'll have you up. Trust me, I'll have you up. First shovel. Anyway, y'all, let me get out of here. It's been 3 hours. Roger probably we talk about this tomorrow, so go to his channel tomorrow for a continuation of this stuff. Okay. But in the meantime, y'all, closing thoughts.
Brother, thank you as always, man. Love you, appreciate the work, and always your ability to share so much information to all of us. So thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Satisfy your techno lust.
Okay. Good, Snake Man.
Thank you, BTF, for letting me on the panel.
Oh, you Snake Man. Let's say, come on, talk about inflation in Germany. Okay, with this bullshit money. Next time you're on. Next time you're on. Not now.
Snake Man, were you there when it switched from Deutschmarks to
Euro?
To
No,
Euro?
He's young. He's
I'm
like
20
Snake Man's
years old. I'm
he's
not my
22.
grandmother.
Yeah, he sounds like he's 50. He sounds like he's 50.
Yeah, he
He's
do sound older. He sound way older.
Yeah.
I was there when it went from 25 Deutschmarks for a liter. 25 Deutschmarks for a liter to like 50 to 75 euros in overnight. And that
God
was
damn, you're old. Just even before Germany unified. The hell,
Yeah.
you're an ancient being.
I was 18 when that happened. But yeah. But yeah.
All right.
But yeah, y'all have a good day. I'm sorry.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.